to our students, staff, and families and MCPS community. Thank you for joining us on our virtual business meeting today on this day, May 28th, 2020. We hope you remain safe and healthy. Although we are conducting this meeting via Zoom conference today due to the continued state of emergency, the meeting is being live streamed on the website and MCPS TV. We've also provided a telephone number for the public to join the meeting that way as well. This meeting will be focused on essential business of the board, and live public comments have also been suspended. Although members of the public can join us by phone, the lines have been muted to avoid background noise and interruptions. Before we get started, I'm going to call the roll and ensure that we have a quorum of the board members that are present. And I'll start with our Vice President, Ms. Wolf.
I'm here.
Ms. Dixon.
Present.
Dr. Daka.
Present.
Mrs. O'Neill.
Present.
Ms. Silvestre.
Present.
Ms. Mondrosky.
Good afternoon. I'm present.
Okay. And Mr. Tinbite.
Hello, everyone. I'm present.
Okay. And then I want to acknowledge the superintendent, and he can introduce his staff.
Good afternoon, Ms. Evans. I'm here today with Dr. McKnight, as well as a number of other staff members who will be joining the meeting at various points along the way. So hope everyone is doing well. Thank you.
Okay. And I also want to acknowledge our board staff that's here. If you all can introduce yourselves as well. We'll start with our Chief of Staff.
Hello, Lori Christina Webb, Chief of Staff.
Thank you. And then we also, I believe we have Robin Seabrook. She's our Director of Governance Policy and Community Relations, as well as Victoria Van Dyke. And I believe Ms. Danielle Suskin is on the line as well. So in order to maintain order, I will call upon board members at one time for your questions, comments, and vote as we proceed through agenda items. If board members would like to speak outside of their designated turn, I would ask that you inform board staff so that I know to call on you again. And so at this time, I will ask for approval of the agenda.
I move that the agenda be approved.
Second, Judy.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, and I'm going to call your name. Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondrosky?
Yes.
Mr. Tinbite?
Yes.
And that is a yes from me, and that is unanimous. At this time, we will move to Human Resources. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Today we have 4 appointments for the board's consideration, and these appointments are for administrative positions. The first appointment today is to request the board to consider appointing Ms. Jeanette Lee as Legal Director for Schools and Operations in the Office of the General Counsel. Ms. Lee has been employed with Montgomery County Public Schools for 6 years as an Assistant General Counsel, most recently as the Assistant to the Chief Technology Officer. Ms. Lee is committed to public service and the success of students and looks forward to returning to the Office of the General Counsel. And so we recommend today Ms. Jeanette Lee as the Legal Director for Schools and Operations.
Move approval. This is Brenda.
Second, this is Nate.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Brodsky?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
That is a yes from me, and that is unanimous. Congratulations. Yeah. Okay.
I will point out that Ms. Lee not only is a talented attorney and worked in the Office of the General Counsel for several years before moving to the technology department, she was one of the driving forces in our Chromebook and MiFi distribution over the last 2 months and did tremendous work there on behalf of our students and families across the community. So we look forward to working with her in this new role.
Absolutely.
The next appointment today that I am recommending is Mr. Mark Brown, Jr. as principal at Albert Einstein High School. Mr. Brown has been employed with Montgomery County Public Schools for 14 years as a teacher. Before that, he worked in Virginia as a teacher. He's also been an assistant school administrator, assistant principal, and most recently as assistant principal at James Hubert Blake High School. Mr. Brown looks forward to joining the staff at Albert Einstein High School to support students, staff, families, and the entire Albert Einstein High School community. And I heartily recommend to you today Mr. Mark A. Brown, Jr. as principal at Albert Einstein High School.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Yes.
Tenbite?
Yes.
That is a yes from me as well. That is unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Brown.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we can clap. We can clap. Okay, Dr. Smith.
Excited about Mr. Brown going to Albert Einstein High School. The third recommendation today is Mr. Joshua S. Fine as principal of Flower Hill Elementary School. Mr. Fine has been employed with MCPS for 13 years as a teacher, assistant school administrator, assistant principal, and most recently as principal intern at College Gardens Elementary School. Mr. Fine looks forward to joining the Flower Hill Elementary School community and working with parents, guardians, teachers, and staff to ensure that all students succeed at the highest levels. Very pleased to recommend Mr. Joshua S. Fine as principal, Flower Hill Elementary School.
Hi, this is Brenda. Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondrosky?
Yes.
Mr. Tenbite?
Yes.
And that is a yes from me, and that is again unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Fine. We can use our icon, yeah. All right.
Also very pleased to recommend to the board today Ms. Kimberly A. Enriquez as principal at Rock Creek Valley Elementary School. Ms. Enriquez has been employed with MCPS for 15 years as a classroom teacher, staff development teacher, assistant principal, and most recently as principal intern at Watkins Mill Elementary School. Ms. Enriquez looks forward to joining the Rock Creek Valley Elementary School community to support the learning and success of all students. So I'm very pleased to recommend Kimberly A. Enriquez as the principal at Rock Creek Valley Elementary School.
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Neil?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Oski?
Yes.
Tenbite?
Yes.
That is a yes from me as well. Congratulations, Mrs. Enriquez. Yes. Right.
So we will continue to have appointments in the upcoming meetings as we continue to go through the process to identify school and central office administrators for the various positions that are open in our system. We also today have a resolution for the Montgomery County Public Schools Counselor of the Year Award winners. The Montgomery County Public Schools Counselor of the Year Award is celebrated to focus attention on the unique contributions of professional school counselors and the tremendous impact school counselors have in helping students in the county achieve school success, plan for a career, and become college ready. Students' school achievement is linked to their successful learning and development, and school counselors are trained to address the needs of all students and support their academic, personal, interpersonal, career, and healthy development. School counselors are committed to students in their learning and identifying barriers to learning, utilizing data-based decision-making, implement research-driven prevention and intervention strategies to evaluate outcomes and improve accountability. It is appropriate that Montgomery County Public Schools recognizes the vital role that school counselors play in the personal and academic development of students by honoring the best of the best school counselors with the Montgomery County Public Schools Counselor of the Year Award. One school counselor from each school level. Now therefore be it resolved that on behalf of the Superintendent of Schools, staff members, students and parents, as well as guardians, the members of the Montgomery County Board of Education congratulate the winners of the 2020 School Counselor of the Year Awards. They are Ms. Elizabeth J. Marino, counselor at A. Mario Lorderman Middle School, Ms. Jennifer A. Poole, counselor at Montgomery Blair High School, and Ms. Gloria A. Silverberg, counselor at Lux Manor Elementary School.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Ms. Wolf,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Dr. Daka,
Yes.
Ms. ONeal,
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre,
Yes.
Androsky,
Yes.
Mr. Tinbite.
Yes.
As a yes from me, that is unanimous. Thank you.
We also want to pause today to announce and congratulate the Superintendent's Annual Mark Mann Excellence and Harmony Award to an administrator. Very excited about this award winner. The Superintendent's Annual Mark Mann Excellence and Harmony Award was established in 1991 to honor the qualities and most significant accomplishments of the late Dr. Mark Mann, former principal at Parkland Junior High School. The award is presented annually to a Montgomery County Public Schools administrator who has shown exceptional performance in promoting academic excellence, positive human relations, and community outreach. Ms. Jewel A. Sanders, principal at Rosa M. Parks Middle School, was chosen as the recipient of the 2020 Mark Mann Excellence and Harmony Award for her dedication to providing a challenging academic program for every student. Ms. Sanders engages all stakeholders in the analysis of data to lead an academic program where instructional staff take on the challenges of providing instruction that meets the needs of each individual learner while recognizing that the data represent individual students. Ms. Sanders encourages each member of her school community to make every day great by leading with an intentionality that is rooted in the love of students and a passion for creating an environment that allows students, staff, parents, and guardians to be valued members of the learning community. Therefore, be it resolved that the Montgomery County Board of Education and the Superintendent of Schools congratulate Ms. Jewel A. Sanders on her accomplishments and are receiving the 2020 Mark Mann Excellence and Harmony Award. I'm very, very pleased to present this award today and ask the board to approve this resolution.
I move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Ms. Wolf,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes. And congratulations, Jewel. Well deserved.
Dr. Daka,
Yes.
Mrs. ONeal,
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre,
Yes.
Mrs. Smondrowski,
Yes.
Mr. Tinbite.
Yes.
Yes from me. Congratulations. It's awesome.
Ms. Evans, I just want to say that I
Welcome to
called
class.
Ms. Sanders to tell her about this award a few days ago and congratulate her. And she actually made me feel better than I made her. She is such a positive force in public education, and I just really want to commend her and thank her for all she does every day.
Absolutely. So the next item is a resolution regarding Ms. Odessa Shannon. It is a resolution of recognition and condolences for Ms. Odessa Shannon, and I'll read that resolution from the board. Whereas the Montgomery County Board of Education and the Montgomery County Public Schools community were deeply saddened by the death of Mrs. Odessa Shannon on May 17, 2020. And whereas Mrs. Shannon was the first African-American woman elected official in Montgomery County and served to the Montgomery County Board of Education from 1982 through 1984. And whereas Mrs. Shannon's own educational experience as a graduate of Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C., and from Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts, helped to instill the importance of education as a key to progress. And whereas Mrs. Shannon's passion for civil rights and racial equality led her to a career with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission as a national program director. And whereas as a mother and community leader in Montgomery County, Mrs. Shannon became a steadfast advocate for educational equity in Montgomery County public schools in the 1970s and helped to establish Black Action Steps, the culmination of work by an action committee which addressed ways to promote academic achievement for African American students. And whereas in addition to serving on the Montgomery County Board of Education, Mrs. Shannon fought tirelessly for the equality and civil rights of Montgomery County citizens by serving as executive director of the Montgomery County Human Rights Commission, and through her continued leadership and activism in numerous civic organizations, including her establishment of the Hall of Fame for Human Rights in 2001. And whereas Mrs. Shannon continued her advocacy work in public education, even after serving on the Montgomery County Board of Education as an active member of the 1977 Action Group, an advocacy group dedicated to supporting and helping African American students receive equal access to educational programs and success. And whereas on May 3rd, 2018, the Montgomery County Board of Education honored Mrs. Shannon's longstanding, unwavering commitment to ensuring that all students receive equal access to a world-class education by presenting her with a Distinguished Service Award as a pioneer in public education. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Montgomery County Board of Education honor the life of Mrs. Odessa Shannon and her exemplary contribution to educational equity in the Montgomery County Public Schools, for her work toward the advancement of the African American community, and for her devotion to justice and equality for all residents of Montgomery County at large. And be it further resolved that the members of the Montgomery County Board of Education and the Superintendent of Schools express their sorrow at the death of Mrs. Odessa Shannon and extend deepest sympathy to her family. I'll leave it open to board members to make comments. Ms. Shannon meant a lot to me, even prior to being on the board. Just very, I feel very privileged and honored to have known her. And she was like a mother, grandmother figure to all in the community. And so I just appreciate her. She leaves behind a great legacy, and I'm better for having known her. And so I'll just go in alphabetical order. Ms. Wolf, you have any comments that you want to share?
Yes, I do. I don't know if you know, well, you do now because it was in the resolution, but Odessa went to Smith and I went to Smith. And I did not know that until maybe about 3 years ago. And I have sat and listened to her stories of her time there because she graduated the year I was born. And I went to Smith in the 70s. And so I know the challenges she must have faced there the year I was born. And so I do want to tell this one story. You might have heard it before, but she kept getting a C on a paper. And anyone who knows Miss Odessa knows that she is well-spoken and can really write. So one of the white students said, "Give me the paper, let me put my name on it." And she put her name on Odessa's paper, and Odessa put her name on this young lady's paper. And now, mind you, the lady had gotten an A on the paper. Odessa got an A when the young lady put her name on Odessa's paper. So that just shows you the kind of, and I don't use this word lightly, but I'm going to use it now, discrimination that was going on in the 50s when she was there. And I shared with her some of the challenges that I faced there when I went in 1970. but she had to have been the same kind of pioneer there that she was as a pioneer in Montgomery County. That's all I want to say. That's all I can get out without crying, actually.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Dixon?
Thank you, Ms. Evans. I just wanted to say that all of us, all women who are in elected office today, stand on Ms. Shannon's shoulders. The historian in me could not help but notice that she was born on July 4th, which would make her a very historic day, which would make her a Yankee Doodle dandy. And she passed away on May 17th, another very historic day, because that is the date that the Supreme Court held that the segregation of public schools was unconstitutional, and that schools should be desegregated with all deliberate speed. Her service will be on May 30th, which traditionally is Memorial Day, another historic day at Heinz Rinaldi Funeral Home. I'm not sure how that will work, but I think it will. Most of it will be virtually done. So thank you very much for the opportunity to just say a few words.
Absolutely. You know, I sort of want to leave Dr. Daka for last. Do you mind if I leave you for last, Dr. Daka, because you were such close friends with her for so many years? Can I leave you for last? I'd rather with you. Okay, sure. Mrs. ONeal.
Well, Ms. Shannon not only championed education here in Montgomery County, she championed housing opportunities, human rights. She was a grand lady in the best sense of the words. I can still picture her coming and testifying before the Board of Education so many times. And I know a couple of people have written to us that we should add her name to the list of potential school names. And I certainly hope that staff will add her with an appropriate biography, because I think her name is worthy of being on a school building. She was always free with her advice and her opinions, but she was always incredibly fair. And I know that when Dr. Smith arrived here, she stepped right up to the plate and served on a budget advisory committee. She did her homework, but most of all, she cared about other people, and particularly about the children of Montgomery County.
Thank you. Ms. Silvestri?
Thank you. As has been stated already, I think that she is one of the women whose shoulders we stand on. She's a trailblazer in Montgomery County for the benefit of all children, in particular children of color. I didn't know her very well, but my few interactions with her, one thing that really struck me was just her warmth and welcoming. The few times that we spoke, I just felt like kind of has been stated, like a motherly figure or a friendly figure, just very welcoming and friendly and supportive. So I hope that we commemorate her somehow so that people can learn about her legacy in Montgomery County in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Spondrowski.
Yes, thank you. She's a truly great lady who has done so much for so many. I feel like it's all pretty much been said already. But our schools and our county and myself are better off because of her and the things that she's done. She was a strong, strong spirit, and she will definitely be missed. And I 100% stand behind the idea of putting her name on the list of our potential school namings. So absolutely, she'll be missed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tinby.
Yep, I wanted to echo everything that you all mentioned. Really echo Ms. ONeal and Ms. Mondrowski's comments on hopefully having her on a list of names for future schools coming up. I do also want to extend my sincere condolences to the family of Mrs. Shannon. Her and I actually served together on the budget steering committee last year. We would sit together and we would discuss the long history of African American students. I actually didn't even know that she was the first elected woman in Montgomery County, and I thought, that's an amazing accomplishment, and she's going to leave quite the legacy in Montgomery County. And so it's a sad day for us. It's going to be sad for a while, but I do again want to extend my sincere condolences to the families of family Mrs. Shannon.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Daka.
Thank you. It's just really very sad to miss her because she was so integral to everything that we did. And you've already talked about her humor and her ability to write and to reason things out and to argue her points so calmly that it made you accept some of the things that she was saying, whether you believed in it or not. And having gone to Smith College when she did, I had heard that she had a perfect score on the SATs, and I do believe she did. But I know that she did well when she was there, and that she was always involved in equal opportunity for everybody as director of the Equal Opportunity Program at the national level. And in the 70s, she was here when we did grade level reorganization. That's a nice way of saying boundaries. It was one of our 330 boundary changes that are in the history of Montgomery County. And there was a lot of work done on that. She also was one of the co-authors of the Black Action Steps with Ruby Rubens, and she passed recently, and we already talked about her as well. The Action Steps were printed in 1977. So later on in her bio, it says that she was active in the group of 1977-2. And it was named for that because some of the things that were in the Black Action Steps are still things that we're working on now for students in terms of academic opportunity. I've known her for 46 years. I had to count it up, but I was in the Department of Human Relations when I first met her. And the fact that she stayed in touch with the community and involved in the community, she was ill for a long time, but you wouldn't have known it because she kept coming and she was always on the ball, always very eloquent. I just don't know how she did it. And right up to the very end. And as you heard in her resume, she retired from 2 different things, well, the board also, and still was working in the community some 40 years later. And she will be sorely missed. And I do agree about her name, but she's unforgettable. And the funeral will be on the 30th at Heinz Rinaldi Funeral Home on New Hampshire Avenue, and there will be live streaming links and online condolences that will be posted on the Heinz Rinaldi Funeral Home website, and it's www.heinzrinaldifuneralhome.com. So anyway, if you have the time to do that, it will be there. It will be there after that as well. But thank you.
Yes. Dr. Smith, did you have comments that you wanted to say?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Evans. So I've known Ms. Shannon for 4 years. I met her 4 years ago about right now. Every relationships are very important, and the time is important. I am so honored and pleased to be able to call her a friend. And my respect for her, my affection and admiration is immense. And this is very hard. I wish I had had more time with her. And I was fortunate to have a lot of time with her in the last 4 years. She gave me a lot of good advice. And sometimes she said hard things to me. And sometimes she called me up and just encouraged me. But she's one of the finest people I've ever known in my life. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I don't want to leave anybody off. Dr. McKnight, I didn't know if you want to make some comments.
Everyone has said a lot about Ms. Shannon, and I tell you, she was definitely one to admire. And while I have not had a lot of time to work with Ms. Shannon throughout my time in MCPS, I always knew who she was, regardless of the position that I served in, because she was such a positive, visible, and faithful source in the community. And so, of course, that will all be missed. But I think what we can lean in is she left many of us with a lot of lessons and a lot of wisdom that we can dig into at just the right moment when we need to. So I am forever grateful to Ms. Shannon for that. And again, extend my condolences to her family. And I'm just grateful for the time that I did have with her. Thank you, Ms. Evans.
No, thank you. All right, so at this time, we'll move to the next item on our agenda. The next item, sorry, Ms. Wolf.
Do we have to move approval of the resolution?
We do, and I'm sorry, I'm moving fast. So if I can get a motion to approve.
Move approval.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon? Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Mrs. ONeal?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Androsky?
Yes.
Tinbite?
Yes.
Dixon? I didn't hear you. Okay, and that's a yes from me, and that is unanimous of those present. And so at this time, thank you, Ms. Wolf, we'll go to the next item, which is public comments. Given that we are conducting this meeting virtually, we ask the public to submit testimony in a variety of ways. Our community has submitted testimony in writing and by video. Public comments is one of our opportunities to hear the views and receive the advice of community members. Board members will take your comments into consideration, but it is not our practice to take action at this time on items that are raised. We encourage public input on policy, program, and practices. This is not the proper avenue to address specific student or employee matters, so we encourage everyone to utilize existing avenues of redress for complaints. Please check our website for information about upcoming board meetings, hearings, or work sessions, including any changes to meeting start times. Please check our website, already said that. So we have received 2 written testimonies today, a total of 2 written testimonies. You may view the written testimonies in full on Board Docs, where it is posted with other materials for this meeting. And I'll just give a summary of the written testimony that was submitted for today's meeting. Patricia Winters from Phoenix Rising. Ms. Winters provided testimony in support of the Recovery Academic Program, which is better known as RAP. She specifically commends Principal Khadijah Barclay, the Landing Program Coordinator, Evelyn Sam Lobos, and the entire RAP staff for their dedication to the RAP students. Ms. Winters includes a cost-benefit analysis to demonstrate the positive benefits of the program and emphasizes the importance of the programs like RAP to support students in the midst of a current pandemic. Our next written testimony is from Meritosh Olson. Meritosh's testimony urges the board to take into account the holistic health of our students in accordance with our Be Well 365 initiative, and emphasizes that the reopening of the schools as normal in the fall would be best for students' mental, physical, and social well-being. So at this time, we will go to the videos that we have for testimony. We have received 5 in total, and first up is Kim Hayden. So we'll try it again. We couldn't hear her testimony, but we'll let MCPS TV.
The staff development teacher position has been integral in supporting teachers in a non-evaluative capacity. We allow teachers the space, resources, and coaching to expand their repertoire of skills so they can implement classroom practices that are effective and equitable, and ensuring learning is maximized. We model new strategies and technology in classrooms, provide non-evaluative feedback to teachers on teaching and learning, facilitate job-embedded professional development, plan and facilitate leadership and staff meetings, analyze data for individuals, teams, and the school at large, troubleshoot technology issues in the building, and support the development and execution of the school improvement plans. We are more often than not the sole liaison between various central offices when teachers have questions about curricular implementation, technology concerns, or certification questions. We model best practices, co-teach to support student learning, assist with special education students, and work with students in small groups to provide remediation. We co-plan with our teachers, providing real shoulder-to-shoulder support that cannot be accomplished by any other means. We live and breathe the school improvement process as we gather critical student, staff, and parent voice data and analyze the data for patterns and trends so that schools make sound, informed decisions in increasing the success of our students. While MCPS pushed out online professional development to shift to distance learning, we created resources and did much of the advanced learning to support teachers with implementation. Training is not enough. Support with implementation is critical, and that is what we do, whether it's new curriculum, equity, restorative practices, online platforms, and tools. We support teachers in moving from learning to doing. With a cut or reduction in our position, much of the workload of SDTs would fall on the classroom teachers themselves. Teachers would be the ones who would have to carry the burden of not having the one non-evaluative support system in their building and would be left to find resources and support on their own. Teachers carry the weight of the world on their shoulders right now, and this would just add more to their plates in a time where teachers are already overburdened. We appreciate the advocacy MCAP has already demonstrated on our behalf, and MCEA has publicly opposed reducing or cutting teacher positions. We hope you will advocate on our behalf as well, knowing just how integral we are to our buildings, and oppose the cutting or reducing of our position. We ask that you advocate for the staff development position in MCPS and strongly oppose cutting or reducing the staff development teacher position. We believe cuts and reductions can be made elsewhere, but not in our school buildings, where both students and teachers would be highly impacted.
And now we will hear from Stephen Austin.
Smith, I hope you're all faring well and in good health, and I thank you for your tireless dedication in these uncertain times. My name is Stephen Austin. I'm a father of 2 MCPS students and currently an at-large candidate for Board of Education. I came to testify today on your meeting agenda consideration to extend the deadline for the WXY final report on the boundary analysis to December 1st, 2020. While it is completely understandable that the COVID-19 disruptions would push back the ability of WXY to conduct the community engagement portion of the analysis, there is the very serious potential that these social distancing disruptions will continue through the end of the year. If this is the case, I believe it would be very beneficial for you to communicate with the community what the plan of action will be. Will the terms of the contract change? Will there be any other fees incurred? If we are still social distancing between now and December, this will likely not provide enough time to complete the final community engagements. I believe the MCPS community would greatly appreciate details about how the contract can be extended. Will WXY be accommodative under these circumstances? If extending the timeline results in a contract renewal for 1 year and thus another $475,000 bill, this, in my opinion, will be viewed as a serious issue by many in the community. The cost and process of the boundary analysis have already been controversial, as you're well aware. It is likely to be viewed as fiscally irresponsible to agree to another $475,000 one-year extension due to the inability to complete only the final community engagement portion of the analysis. it would be doubly concerning in a time of budgetary constraint such as we are facing now. That community engagement work is important, but I believe MCPS would be well served to look at negotiating that extension should it arise with no additional contract expense. At this point in the boundary analysis process, the entire exercise has been fraught with missteps and has been very controversial in terms of the ultimate goal. I suggest that at the end of the current contract period and delivery of the report, the board walk away from WXY entirely and re-engage with the community directly to discuss the realistic and well-documented, well-defined boundary goals that families and taxpayers can agree on in a non-disruptive manner. I believe it is time for the board to mend this rift with the community and work with it as a true partner. Thank you.
And the next video submission is from Lauren Berkowitz.
Much for the opportunity. Hello, MCPS Board of Education. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Lauren Berkowitz, and I'm a parent in MCPS. I'm here today to thank you so very much for all of your efforts during these unprecedented times, from feeding our students to getting them technology to educating them. It's all been such a heavy lift, and I am so grateful for all of your efforts. I'd like to also thank the teachers for all of their efforts as well. I'm here today to talk about the continuity of learning at the elementary level. I'd like to see three things. First, I'd like to see small reading and math groups at least once a week. These have educational benefits for students, and they also allow teachers to identify students that are falling behind and students that are getting ahead. It also allows the students opportunities to talk with their classmates and participate in more group work. I would also like to see a morning and afternoon session of learning at the elementary level. For students that are unable to participate in two sessions, I recommend that we record the lessons. Additionally, if they're unable to participate in either of these lessons, I recommend that we have mentors from the community and MCPS reach out to them and talk to them and see what they need and see the best ways that we can keep them on track. Finally, I would like to see differentiated learning so that we make sure that students are falling behind are getting the pieces they need to understand, and that students that are ahead are not bored and that they still have curiosity and feel challenged and want to participate in class. I think some of the ways to do these things without putting additional burdens on teachers is to get rid of some of the grading metrics at the elementary level. I think there's a lot of frustration with the technology and submitting documents online and printing out lots of paper. And I think, teachers could take some of this time that they're doing in grading and helping with submission and instead have these small group learning opportunities. I'd also like to reach out and request that South Lake Elementary get its new school. This is a very deserving community and their school is in disrepair. And I really would appreciate it if you could look at different flexibilities and different ways during this time that we could get them their new building. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Next, we will hear from Dan Benstock.
And Smith, thank you all for everything that you have been doing during this difficult time. I am testifying today with a suggestion on how the board can display exceptional communication and engagement regarding this boundary analysis. As you may know, last week, MCPS filed a motion for summary judgment regarding the Clarksburg appeal to the Maryland State Board of Education. On page 34 of last week's filing, MCPS states that policy FAA, quote, directs consideration of all four factors without directing that any factor outweigh the other factors. However, this is a more evolved stance when compared to comments made by prior board members when policy FAA was being amended in 2018. For example, on September 13th, 2018, when debating with board member ONeal, former board member Jill Ortman-Faust told the board, quote, "We're saying that factor, referring to demographics, is weighted heavy, just a little heavier than the rest of the factors," end quote. Several other former BOE members said the same. So which is it? I'm not here to debate whether one factor should be given more weight or not, but this issue of how to weigh factors has been debated for hundreds of hours in the community because nobody really knows, and lack of clarity results in mistrust, headaches, and tension within the community. You now have a unique chance to clear this up and model exceptional communication. As leaders, you can provide the much-needed clarity we have all been seeking. While the legal motion is public record, you still have an opportunity here. If you stand by what MCPS recently stated in your legal motion, that all four factors are weighed equally, releasing a simple statement indicating this will evaporate remaining confusion around this issue. And it is consistent with what MCPS has formally stated on record. Importantly, this does not tie your hands or lose the progress you have made. You retain flexibility to consider different factors, and striving for diversity will remain an important priority. We all have very important things to focus on right now, and taking this step of affirming what MCPS represented in its legal filing is an easy but powerful way to show the community that you are willing to demonstrate the highest level of clear communication and true community engagement. Thank you sincerely for your consideration.
All right. So our final video testimony will come from Byron Johns and Diego Uru.
Superintendent Smith, President Evans, and members of the most diverse and equitably conscious Board of Education. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in front of you. My name is Diego Uriburu, and I am the Executive Director of Identity and a proud member of the Black and Brown Coalition.
Hi, and I am Byron Johns, Chair of the NAACP Montgomery County Education Committee and Parents Council, and also a co-founder of the Black and Brown Coalition.
We want to thank you for your support throughout the years. We know that we are very, very aligned in what we want. We want all students to succeed, but particularly those who have been at the receiving ends of inequities for a long, long time. We know that you are facing incredibly tough times and decisions, particularly regarding the budget. And we want to tell you that we are fully supportive of yours. We believe in you, but most importantly, that the students who do not have advocates on your side depend on your decisions. And again, we will have your back. Thank you.
As mentioned by Diego, we are very much, and have been for the last year, appreciative of the support you have given to the coalition. And we are very much looking to return and provide support to you through these difficult times as we plan for the recovery and renewal of Montgomery County Public Schools going forward. Hopefully through these decisions, you know our support. We recall and appreciate the support you've given us and look for you to continue to support the pledge to keep equity at the front of your decisions now and going forward. Thank you again for this opportunity, and we will be very much looking to support you going forward through these tough times ahead.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so that concludes our public comments portion of the agenda. I did want to reiterate that the written testimony that I summarized is on Board Docs. So you can go on Board Docs and view that. And so our next business meeting for the Board of Education will be on Thursday, June 11, 2020. And signups for public comments will open on June the 5th. So at this time, we will come to item 6 on the agenda. And I will turn it over to Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. As we've just heard in the public comments, there are many, many different topics and issues all of the time in our community and our school system. None more important than our students' learning. And certainly on March 12th, when the governor stood up and closed schools for 2 weeks, as though we had a major snowstorm, and Dr. Salmon, the state superintendent, speaking with and on behalf of the governor, said you should plan to maybe make these days up in spring break. No one was thinking that we were moving into an era that we are now in at that moment. It was very much the old way of thinking that this would pass and would make up the days and school year would continue. But that realization has certainly been with all of us as we've continued to work together to provide the continuity of learning in a worldwide health pandemic. That's what it's been, and in an emergency situation. As we've thought about this, we've worked through 3 phases. The staff has worked to stand something up, and I often get email messages that say, why can't you do what the private school is doing here in Montgomery County? And I want to respond to that very clearly, because we have 165,300 pre-K through 12th graders across the system. And it's our job to work with all of them. And we were not a digital environment at the time. We were very much a face-to-face environment. But our goal has been to get better every day at what we're doing, and to build out a non-emergency continuity of learning plan. Whatever this summer and September bring to us, we want to be well prepared to do the very things one of our public comments said today about providing children with very good experiences for their well-being and their learning. And so today, Dr. McKnight and several of our staff members are just going to walk through where we are in this last phase of this emergency effort, and how we are working to evolve and to transition to the summer and then to the fall. So I will turn it over to Dr. McKnight now to talk about phase 3 of the continuity of learning plan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. Good afternoon, board members. It's good to see you. And Dr. Smith, thank you for framing the discussion as you had. It has been a journey moving through the phases 1, 2, and 3 as we have put up the continuity of learning plan. And I just want to mention a few things as it relates to our phases. And I'll start out with really just the whole student engagement piece. This has been a discussion that we've been having from the very beginning of the continuity of learning plan. We just talked about how important it was to stand up an online platform. But in addition to that, what was most important is who did we have engaging, how were they engaging, and how was this level of engagement working for our students or not? And so with that in mind, I just want to talk a little bit about the student engagement process as it relates to the continuity of learning plan. And actually, Ms. Evans and board members, we're going to go through a number of things. We're going to talk about student engagement and then how that folds out into student well-being. Then we'll talk a little bit about the student grade choice based on some decisions that we've made in prior board meetings. Then we're going to talk about graduation validation and then graduation. So the continuity of learning perspective today update will be surrounded around a number of those topics. So for student engagement, I'll start to talk a little bit about the importance of monitoring student engagement and the connection to the continuity of learning plan was really focused on the system being designed, and we wanted to start a goal of implementing a comprehensive student engagement monitoring program that would include several things. One, multiple data sources. We wanted to look at, and we also wanted to be able to mobilize staff and resources across the district in order to be able to meet individual student and family needs, acknowledging that that has to be differentiated as it was when we were in a brick and mortar setting. So the MCPS Student Engagement Plan has 3 phases: analyzing and tracking individual student engagement at the school and central office level. So that's the first part of it. Secondly, creating agile outreach and case management action plans to address student needs. And that's the part of deploying the additional staff and the staff within the building. And third, analyzing the quality of student engagement in addition to quantifying student engagement. So details and related data for each of these phases, I'm going to outline more specifically for you. So in phase 1 for student engagement, which is focused on analyzing and tracking individual student engagement at the school and central office level. So the first phase focuses on being able to connect students to the learning and creating a comprehensive picture of how students may or may not be engaged in the learning process. And then there are 3 concurrent and ongoing data sources that are being used to create this picture for us. And so those 3 sources are technology distribution, the student digital footprint of logins, and then the school and office outreach data that really tells us what are all the circumstances around who's engaging and what are the factors around their level of engagement. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 in student engagement is really focused on creating that agile outreach and case management action plan to address each student's need. So this phase of student engagement really focuses on creating and implementing outreach action steps in order to connect families with resources. We know unless our families have the resources that they need, some of those resources could be preventing them from engaging in the way that the system would like. So using data from phase 1, academic and well-being support teams in partnership with our PPWs, our parent community coordinators, PCCs, our ESOL and Title I specialists, and special education coordinators all develop a strategic outreach plan to address these needs. That team ensures that our families have the resources they need to effectively be able to engage in the continuity of learning plan. This phase actually began the week of March 23rd as we connected with families with paper packets, technology, language translation services, all of that in order to be able to support the successful transition to the continuity of learning program when we first stood it up. So this phase has continued each week as the school and central office staff have really spent lots of time connecting with families. They've been out delivering resources. We've seen pictures of them doing that in a variety of different ways, and they have been very creative. And they work with all of our families to really continue to this transition of this new learning experience that's online and new for everyone. And knowing again that different families will need different supports to be able to implement it successfully for the child. Phase 2 will continue throughout the continuity of learning program. And so this our goal in this phase is to continue to differentiate the support, provide the support that's going to be most meaningful to the families so that all of our students will engage. During this time, MCPS, we're also going to continue to distribute Chromebooks and wireless hotspot devices. We've had a number of mass distributions occur already, but that does not negate the fact that we're going to continue to do this to any student and families who were not able to travel to those distributions earlier to the previous sites. And so we still want to make sure we provide those services so that they can receive the devices. And in order to meet these students where they live, in case transportation or a number of other things may have been an issue, we as a system are going to transition away from the mass distribution that we did before and really target community distribution efforts that will allow greater flexibility for schools to help get those devices into the hands of their students because they're most equipped to be able to do that. Targeted community distribution efforts include examples of daily device pickup at central locations, home delivery, small batch distributions by school administrators at locations close to the student's home, and then large distributions at school sites. So we're going to do a variety of different ways, again, to make sure the students and families get what they need. School administrators also have the flexibility to choose which distribution or delivery option works best for their students and can rely on support from various central offices to implement their chosen desire to deliver those options to students or distribute them to families. We want it to be meaningful at the end of the day to the families. And so that's why we're engaging the leaders, again, as they're getting information front-facing with families of what's going to work best for them to remove the barriers. And we also know that that's where the relationships relies. If families are having difficulties and trying to figure out how to maneuver circumstances. They have relationships with the school staff and would feel comfortable sharing that information and working with them, as well as the central office staff who have connected with families throughout the year. And so that's why we're really having them front facing, working with families with challenges when it comes down to getting the access that they need to the devices and other things to engage. So then for phase 3, which is focused on student engagement, and phase 3 is about analyzing the quality of student engagement in addition to quantifying student engagement. And it's really important for us to think about that, because even when we have students log on, we also have to be able to figure out what did that log on experience provide for the students and their learning for us to define, was it really meaningful to our students? So phase 3 of student engagement really does add the element of quality engagement to the central data that has already been collected, as well as school and central analysis. This phase utilizes not only the digital footprint and the school central outreach data, but it also makes use of marking period 3 grades and marking period 4 ongoing academic performance in each class. This detailed level of monitoring will help academic and well-being support teams, as well as the central office resources, identify student areas of need and be able to create support structures for students who need them. So this phase began on Friday, April 17th, as we analyzed academic performance reported on March 13th and compared that to academic performance being reported at the end of the marking period 3. This analysis is going to continue with the inclusion of marking period 3 grades when grades post the student records, and the monitoring, engagement, and academic performance in marking period 4 is really our primary focus for phase 3. That's going to be our focus, because as we really continue to monitor this engagement in phase 3 of our continuity of learning plan, it's going to tell us a lot about overall, did it take students time to adjust to this online system? What were some things that either helped the adjustment or hindered the adjustment? And these are all going to be great implications of things that we need to consider as we build out priorities within our recovery of education plan in MCPS. So I wanted you to have a really good sense overall of what those phases of student engagement looks like. I do want to transition to Dr. Wilson and turn it over to her, because I want her to be able to share specifically what the student engagement data will looks like that we've already collected with you. So Dr. Wilson, I'll turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you very much, Dr. McKnight. As Dr. McKnight indicated, when schools closed for 2 weeks and we moved to remote status, it was really important for us to stay connected to our families. Not only did we want to stay connected, but as we stood up the continuity of learning, it was critically important that we could gauge the level of engagement of our students as we move through the phases of the continuity of learning. So on slide 7, we have a table that indicates that this basically shows ways in which our schools are monitoring engagement beyond being online. I want to point out that this is the first phase of continuity of learning. This was the time period when we were all in I guess, a state of shock, if you will. We knew we had to roll out Chromebooks. We knew that we were going to be providing this remote continuity of learning. And we also knew that we had students who were armed with cell phones, and they could very easily be in a hotspot and they could be connected with us. And as Dr. McKnight pointed out, it's not only quantity, how many students are engaged, but also the quality of that engagement. So what you're looking at is the first data collection that we did and the ways in which we were ensuring that we were connecting with our students. We were able to produce a report that went to each of our schools, and that report contained evidence that students had been online some way, somehow. They could have been using a computer, they could be using a cell phone, but we knew not only how many were there, we knew who was connecting. And as we provided the report to the schools, what we did was we said to them, okay, you now have a report that shows who we haven't heard from at all. And this was, again, the quantity measure. And much to our surprise, there were only 3,382 students that we had not heard anything from via computer or cell phone. So schools then reported to us that of the 3,382 students, we had been making cell phone connections, email connections. We had been providing paper packet engagement beyond what was being provided centrally. Schools were initiating that on their own. We found that we had 71 students who families had opted them out for whatever reason. The conditions were such that they weren't able to engage in the continuity of learning. We also learned from that as teachers were reaching out to students and school staff, our academic well-being teams, and our well-being teams, as they were reaching out, we identified students that we knew were waiting on technology. And then we also identified 670 students that we just could not reach. We were not reaching them. And I'm happy to report that through the efforts of Ms. Rochelle Rubin's office, we utilized resource officers, our PPWs, our PCCs, parent coordinators, went out and found families and began to identify the needs that they had at that time in order to be able to get the students connected online or in touch with the school. The other category here we found were our infants and toddler students who we weren't really expecting to be online because they were receiving other services through the infant and toddler program, which would necessarily not really indicate that they needed to be engaged online. As you look at this measure, though, again, this was the quantity measure, looking at how many students, and it is pretty remarkable that when you think about the cell phone and the computer engagement, we had that many students engaged. But when you move to the quality measure, and the quality measure during the first phase was we were looking for students to have 2 logins and 2 live sessions sometime during the weeks that we were capturing this data. And what we found then was some very different data. In terms of the elementary students, we found that 12% of the elementary students were not engaged fully like we would want them to be. And that was 9,402 students that we would have liked to have seen be engaged more. And for the secondary, the level of engagement by the end of this period, there were 4,834 students, or about 5.5% of our secondary students who weren't engaged. Next slide, please. It would be slide 8. We have done, as I said, 2 summary reports. The first report was during phase 1 of continuity of learning. This second report encompasses phase 2 of continuity of learning and represents the first 3 weeks of marking period 4. This is summary information that answers 3 questions. How many students have we not had contact with at this point in time when we captured this data? And what we've discovered is that in this count, there were students that were represented in the first phase that we were in contact with. What we are finding as we reach out to these students or attempt to reach out to these students is their conditions, their family conditions have changed. We are discovering that many of the students that are still on our books, still in our enrollment, have had to move out of state in order to have secure living arrangements. And so as we make the attempts, we're finding out that our students have moved on. The other condition that seems to be affecting this number is that many of our students and our families have financial hardships that have changed their ability to stay connected with us. So as a result, MCPS has responded to that by securing an additional 1,500 hotspots because folks are reporting that they're not able to stay connected due to the loss of the internet. The next summary statement is students who, again, are engaged online, but not where we want to see them at this point in time. And right now we're calling for 3 times per week we'd like to see them engaged through our systems in order for us to be able to say they are engaged to the level we would like them to be. So we find that about 10.4% of our students, or 17,175 students, are online, but not where we would like them to be engaged. And I think one thing that's important to point out here is we do have many students who are independent. They get their assignments. They may not feel like they need to log in 3 times a week. But it's important for us, again, to establish these quality measures so that, in particular, as we move into the fall, we're able to gauge the expectations that teachers should have for students to be online and also to be communicating those. And last but not least, I'm happy to say that nearly 90% of our students are engaged at a level of 3 times per week or more, 148,389 students. So next slide, please. This slide actually shows of the students who are logging on, the percent of students who are logging on at least 3 times per week. And this actually is disaggregated by race and ethnicity groups. For the most part, 88% or higher for each group is engaged. But as you can see, we're monitoring the level of engagement for all of our race groups, with the highest concern being with our Hispanic Latino population at 11.82% of students who are not engaged. And just to remind you, we have 61,000 students, 53,586 students in the Hispanic category. So this translates to about 5,400 students that aren't logging in 3 times a week. They are logging in, but they're not, again, to that point. Another example that I'll cite, for instance, is with our African-American students. We have approximately 35,391 in the system. And with this percentage, around 3,500 are not engaged to the level that we'd like them to be in terms of the 3 times per week. Moving to the next slide, we also are gauging our students who receive our services. And you can see here that for our students with IEPs, that number is 28,253. Approximately 9% of the students are not where we would like them to be in terms of a quality engagement. For the LAP students, it's 12.6. Approximately 2,300 students in the LAP range are not engaged where we'd like them to be. And for the farm students, it's 11.81. Our overall population there is 61,776 at last look, and that's about 6,700 students. So with that, I will turn this over now to Ms. Morris, or excuse me. Oh, sorry, to Dr. McKnight. Sorry, thank you.
That's okay. Thank you, Dr. Wilson, for going through that engagement information. It does connect to the next part of student well-being. So Ms. Evans, I just wanted to know, did you want me to pause for a second or should I continue here?
Go ahead and continue.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Dr. Wilson, again for going through the engagement data that we started to collect at the very beginning of this so that everyone can develop a process of what the data currently states. And just know that we'll continue to collect that, and it will be very informative to our continued work in developing the continuity of learning recovery plan for education in MCPS. So for student well-being, I'll talk a little bit about that because it connects to, we can't talk about student engagement without talking about student well-being because they connect, and we have been very intentional about developing our student well-being teams to focus on that very thing. So the student well-being team is a collaborative, multidisciplinary team charged with supporting students to reduce barriers to learning, and that's their charge. The purpose of the school well-being team is to ensure that student wellness and safety, coordinate outreach to families and students, and to collaborate with community partners to assist students and families throughout the online continuity of learning phases, just recognizing that, again, this has been an adjustment for everyone. So the school-based academic teams support the transition of students and staff to the virtual continuity of learning plan. Team members are identified at the local school to support students with academic intervention and enrichment as needed, and to support teachers with the appropriate resources. I know earlier in public comment, we heard an example of exactly how that works out in the schools as we're deploying a number of staff to support this ongoing effort. So to continue with slide 12, student well-being teams, there really are 3 tiers of progressive support for students who have not yet created a digital footprint, as we identified that being very important as we continue to monitor student engagement. In tier 1, the school well-being teams identify wellness team members and they contact parents and guardians of students not engaged in the continuity of learning or who have well-being concerns. That team actually elevates the concern to ask OSFI if they are unable to contact the family. So that's them then asking for that central office support if the school team is unable to make that connection. During tier 2, the Office of Student and Family Support and Engagement staff members, they connect with the student well-being teams to verify student safety, which may include involvement of other community agencies and partners. So administrators often collaborate with the Office of Student and Family Support and Engagement and the Student Wellbeing Team and the Department of System-Wide Safety and Emergency Management to explore additional options for ensuring student safety. Additionally, intervention steps are planned with the appropriate staff to ensure that we're differentiating for needs and have taken into consideration all of the information that we have available to support the student and the family. Tier 3 involves central office wellbeing teams who then engage appropriate agencies for physical wellness checks. And so our central office have built these relationships with all of these government agencies. So in case we cannot make the contact at the school level and then the central office level, we then know we have to go a step further and engage those community partners that we have. And all avenues and options have to be explored and exhausted when we really realize that we're not making contact with any student. The conditions are based on imminent danger of the student or family. And so if that's the case, then we engage others to help support that. The central office wellbeing team reviews really critical information on a regular basis to make sure that we're actually operating off of the most accurate information as it relates to students and their well-being overall. So I just continue to elevate the importance of the student well-being teams because, again, when we started to talk about them and their purpose, we talked about the importance of us providing support at the system level, but also just continuing to acknowledge that we have to engage the school level who really know the families, have the relationships with the students, so that support can continue to move forward. And so the central office wellbeing teams, they really review critical cases and work with other agencies if needed to problem solve pathways forward to support the students and the families within the schools as needed. And so they have that primary goal of, again, connecting with the school teams, the central office teams, and outreach to community agencies in the county if needed. So I just wanted to frame that picture for you because we actually try to go through all of these layers if we are not hearing from any student to make the attempt to not miss one if we recognize there's no engagement occurring. So that's been our process of student well-being teams, and I wanted to make sure you understood that as it relates to student engagement. If it's okay to continue, I'll go on to the other components of the continuity learning plan updates, and then we can come back to questions as it relates to any of these areas. So I'll now move on to slide 13, which is about student grade choice process. So this is about student grade choice process for the pass, for passing. The fourth marking period, our middle and high school students will continue to use the pass and incomplete grading system based on the established criteria that we've talked about in all of our previous meetings. By passing the fourth marking period, high school students will be able to earn a semester grade in each course that is one letter grade higher than the grade they received at the end of the third marking period. In lieu of a letter grade, high school students may also opt to have a pass as a final grade for the semester if they meet all of the criteria, and may select this option on a course-by-course basis. If they're opting for a pass in a course, the grade will not be factored into the student's cumulative GPA. Transcript entries for the second semester of the 2019-20 school year will be marked with a symbol noting COVID-19. Students who do not meet the criteria for passing a course in the fourth marking period will be issued an incomplete grade. Slide 14, the student grade choice process, the letter grade. If a student selects the option of receiving a letter grade, the final semester grade will be reported on the transcript and factored into the cumulative grade point average. This grading option aligns with the practices built into the current grading system and provides students an opportunity to improve their grade from marking period 3. And I also just want to note, we had a lot of discussion in our last board meeting to make some amendments to address all of these options for our students. And I just commend our board members for the discussion and the staff for the many options that we went to make sure we were honoring all of our values and core priorities in providing these options for our students. And so we do have a process set up in which our students will receive information, and our community has already received some information about it. But there will be a window June 4th through June 12th in which our students will be able to go on and select what their option will be in terms of whether they want to go with a pass or they are or if they would prefer to have a letter grade. So we're sending information out to our community about that so that, again, they are all clear on what that process is. And so, again, we are honoring our students' choice in that way. So that brings us up to that point. Ms. Evans, shall I continue? We still have graduation validation and graduation left, and then we can open up for questions. Is that okay?
That's perfect. Thank you.
All right. So at this time, I'm going to have Dr. Wilson share information about the graduation validation process. She's going to be followed up by Mr. Kuto's area superintendent, who's going to share an update on the universal graduation ceremony. We gave you a little bit of information about that at the last board meeting, but Mr. Kutos will share more specific information as we've spent some time mapping that out. And then Ms. McGuire will explain the end of the year closing procedures and process for schools. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Wilson to talk about graduation validation.
Thank you, Dr. McKnight. It's indeed a pleasure to share with you some of our intentional work that we are doing to make sure that all students are on track for graduation from the minute they hit the high school doors until they get across the stage. But given our circumstances this year in COVID-19 and our abrupt ending to our brick and mortar delivery system, there has been and continues to be a laser focus on getting seniors through the coursework necessary to either graduate in June with their peers or to obtain a high school graduation status in August after credit recovery. August graduates, of course, are considered four-year graduates. On this slide, I want to talk a little bit about a team composition, and this truly is a team effort. We have central office staff from the Office of School Support and Improvement, from the Office of Curriculum and Instructional Programs, the Office of Shared Accountability, and the Office of Student and Family Support and Engagement, working very closely with our principals, our senior administrators, counselors, registrars, pupil personnel workers, and resource teachers in our high schools to ensure that our students are on track for graduation. A little bit about the process, and I think it's very important, next slide please, to mention that this work has been going on for the past couple of years intensively around our seniors. And again, this monitoring of our students starts when they hit high school and making sure that we are walking with them through making sure that they have everything that they need to receive a diploma. But this year, before we ever knew COVID was on its way, we had completed a round one, asking the question, who is on track for graduation and who do we need to more closely monitor? And so basically at the end of first semester, we had approximately 10,700 students that we knew were on track for graduation. After this meeting, we created lists for each of the schools. We monitored and shared in the responsibility of monitoring what was going on with those students as they were moving towards and into third quarter. As you know, third quarter came along with COVID-19. And we had an abrupt ending. We knew that we had students that were going to get incompletes. We knew that possibly conditions had changed and that possibly what they had at the time of the closure, grades would have actually suffered. And so we knew that we needed to go back out, and we met again with the teams. We reevaluated the status of every student. We examined the incompletes. And in addition to that, we also examined the students who were just a 0.5 credit away from being able to have enough credits to graduate in June. For those students, we created centralized online and remote options for them and enrolled them in the coursework that they needed, and also identified supports at the school level and at central office to ensure that students were going to have what they needed to get through that additional coursework. Next slide, please. So that brings us to where we are right now. And as you know, with the virtual graduations, our graduations are not starting as soon as they typically do when we're in a brick and mortar setting. So we actually have a little bit more time to continue to work with our students up through and until June 3rd. So right now, these teams have come back together. They're continuing to verify students who are ready to graduate. They're confirming that students who are still working and what courses they need to complete, what requirements they need, they still need to have in place. They're confirming the students who can graduate in the summer if we focus them and get them enrolled. And then we're confirming the students who will not graduate in June or August, and we're doing those parent contacts now. I'm pleased to say that we're working back to our 10,700 status that we saw at the end of first semester. And this work is, I think, one of the best examples of true intentionality on behalf of our students in order to get them across the stage. And it's such a celebration when you think about the situation and the circumstance that we are in with this pandemic situation, and how people have come together to really rally around making sure that the students are in a position to graduate either in June or in August.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. And if I could have Mr. Kutos go ahead and transition into our universal graduation plan, that'd be great.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Dr. McKnight. We are extremely excited to honor and recognize the contributions and achievement of the class of 2020. Since the end of April and throughout the month of May, our high schools have endeavored to ensure a level of consistency. They've endeavored to be respectful of time-honored traditions and to consider necessary innovations in this new environment that we're in as we recognize our students and the work of the class of 2020. Schools have consistently utilized social media postings to recognize their seniors. They've had senior award ceremonies throughout the last couple of weeks. They've partnered with parents and community to have signs and banners posted either at the school, around the community, or at or near student homes. They're providing mementos and memory boxes to their students via the cap and gown distributions that are going on this week and into next week. All of this is culminating, if we could go to the slide, into our graduation season, and it's starting on June 7th, 2020 with the universal graduation ceremony. It will occur at 6 p.m. on that Sunday evening. We are very fortunate to have partnered with our friends in the NBC4 family. The universal graduation ceremony will be broadcast across Cozy, Telemundo, and other stations affiliated with NBC4. And we're extremely excited to announce that Chef Jose Andres, the founder of World Central Kitchen, will be delivering a keynote address to all the members of the class of 2020. Just an excellent individual who will provide a great message to our students and our families. The celebrations won't stop there. We'll continue into the following week from June 8th through June 12th, where all of our comprehensive high schools Our special schools and our alternative programs will have individual school ceremonies. They're scheduled throughout the week of June 8th through the 12th. And families and students will be able to go to their respective school websites to view those individual school ceremonies, which will feature messages from the school principals, messages from our students in each of our schools, and a slideshow at each school of all of our graduates where their images, their names will be read aloud, and we'll be able to see those students be celebrated at each of our schools and across our entire school system. So it's a great way for us to recognize the amazing resilience, perseverance, and contributions of the members of the class of 2020.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kusos. We appreciate you and the work that you've done with the entire committee to pull that together. I'm proud to say that Mr. Kutos has had a number of stakeholders involved in the planning process that have brought forward this great product, given the circumstances. So we appreciate him and all the work that the team has done. I'll now turn it over for the last part of the Continuity of Learning Plan update to Mrs. McGuire, who will give us the end of the year closeout process. Mrs. McGuire?
Thank you. Thank you. And I do have just a couple of slides to talk about the end of year closeout process. We do know certainly that there are a number of practical things that we need to do in our buildings and in our school offices to wrap up the end of this school year. And a lot of that does start with just closing out and wrapping up our end of year, our classrooms and our schools, to close those out to allow teachers to come back and get their materials, to have students able to get their materials. And normally, of course, these are the kinds of activities that would be taking place over the course of the last several days and weeks of the school year. Under the circumstances right now, of course, we need to plan and sequence that in a way that maximizes safety and follows public health guidelines. And so we are working very closely with the principals and with our other colleagues to schedule facility closeout over the next couple of weeks. Our first priority really is to work on schools that do have major summer work coming up. We are able to conduct some project work to accomplish a number of critical infrastructure and facility improvement projects that we need to do. And so we want to take that opportunity to have those schools be able to start hopefully a little bit before the end of the school year. Again, if we can have folks come into those classrooms and schools to pack and secure those classrooms for summer cleaning and collect their materials. Of course, another priority is, as Mr. Kutzos was just talking, about our high school seniors and any graduation related activities. And so that's the other focus right now, is to be able to support the seniors in closing out their year as soon as possible, and be sure that the schools are able to access what they need for graduation. The next slide talks a little bit about the time frame that we're on. We did get started almost right away after the announcement was made about the end of the year, and we were able to work through Twin Brook Elementary School last week. We had a good experience there, and we've been able to really move through additional elementary and middle schools this week, and then we're going to continue to accelerate that pace over the next couple of weeks. And again, of course, a primary focus for high schools is on seniors and graduation. And the thing that is important to keep in mind here is that, again, because we have to do this in an unusual way and a way that we're not used to, and because we are going to have to do this within public health guidelines, we're going to need to stage it out over a period of time. And we're not going to be able to have everybody come in right away. So we really appreciate the school's patience, our staff patience, and of course, our students and families' patience with what's going to be a little bit more of a time-consuming process than we might otherwise anticipate. And on the next slide, again, what we really need to emphasize is just the health and safety requirements that we are following. In order to ensure that we maintain social distancing, students and families will not be able to enter the building. We will have staff members carefully prepare those student materials and have them safely for distribution and pick up at the outside of the building. And families will be hearing from their principals more about that as the schedule moves through. And of course, we will be keeping careful careful public health requirements for our staff and support in the building as well. Finally, the important piece on the last slide really is that everyone will wear a mask as another important public health and safety precaution during this process. So again, we just appreciate everyone's patience and bearing with us through this. We appreciate the collaboration and cooperation that we've had from principals, from staff, from families and communities. And we just look forward to helping everyone wrap up this school year together.
Thank you. So I will start with Mrs. ONeal, and then we'll go around in the order that we seat at the table.
Well, thank you. And thank you to all of our staff. Everything is complicated. I can't even imagine all the zillions of logistics that have to happen in this topsy-turvy year. And I know that our students, our graduating seniors, are disappointed. I know the 8th grade promotion ceremonies that aren't happening, the 5th grade promotion ceremonies, or they're not happening in person. We have a lot of disappointed people, but I appreciate Mr. Kuzzo's and others' efforts to find some way to recognize these events. Just one question. So all the Chromebooks that have been distributed, we're not picking them up? Are they gonna live with the students over the summer, or what are we doing about the Chromebooks?
Thank you, Ms. ONeal, for that question. So a big part of, I'm sorry, Ms. McGuire, anything I missed, please add on. But the goal is that in our priorities moving forward, we are looking to make sure the technology is provided to every student in the system moving forward. So our plan is to have the students keep those items with them, knowing that that's in our future infrastructure build out plan to have them equipped with that. And we don't want to collect and then have to redistribute. So thank you for raising that, but the plan is that they keep the devices.
Thank you, Mrs. ONeal. Dr. Daka, do you have any comments, questions?
Couldn't find my cursor. It was wandering around somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I think the report has been very illuminating, and you've done a wonderful job of quantifying quality programs. I think it's amazing that so much has been done over these weeks. We've been through a lot. You have really, you meaning all of you, have really done a superb job. And I just have a feeling that we've done a better job on quantifying and finding out how many kids we've really reached, ones we haven't reached, and what we're doing about that than maybe some of the other systems. And I congratulate you and thank you for your work.
Thank you. Ms. Silvestre? You're on mute.
Thank you for this update. I wanted to go back to the earlier part of the presentation when you were talking about student engagement. And I heard you mention measuring academic performance. If I heard you correctly, could you speak more or speak further about how we are measuring academic performance throughout the phases and as we wrap up the school year?
So I'll start with that, Ms. Silvestre, and Dr. Wilson, please add on anything additionally. So we started out, actually, we're still utilizing our curriculum in lots of ways, which is the curriculum that students and teachers were already exposed to and were utilizing prior to our continuity of learning plan. And so we aren't particularly using assessments in the exact same way. However, we did establish some markers, and I spoke a little bit about this at our last meeting. We did establish some markers that we wanted to look at specifically on student progress, because those would be some of the pieces that we would utilize to determine who we would invite into any summer learning program opportunities for recovery. And so those were just like some particular, I would say, pieces of work that we would put into the overall picture of a few pieces that we focus on with assessments. And outside of that, I mean, of course, our teachers are continuing to look at student learning in a formal and informal assessments in the way that they did before, but taking into consideration, of course, the circumstances. Dr. Wilson, anything you'd like to add to that, or?
Sure. You know, when we're in brick and mortar, we take this time of year to do what we call articulation between grade levels, especially for elementary. And what we do is we call in data points that we have available to us. In this case, up through first semester, we have our evidence of learning data points that we've collected, that we're pulling together a profile on each student's learning and providing that information to each teacher. In addition to that, we are asking teachers to do some reflection on the levels of engagement that they saw, the level of engagement that they would have liked, and also to ask the question, are these students, or is this particular student somebody that we need to make sure gets an invitation to our summer program in particular, so that we can mitigate further loss and restore some lost learning that may have occurred. So we are in the process of, we have a cross-office team that is pulling together this report. We're also taking a look at what's called the HOPE indicators, which is generally used for gifted and talented program identifications, but it really looks at the teacher's thoughts about the students' problem-solving abilities, whether or not they have a particular interest in a content area, how they observe them to be active listeners, whether or not they're collaborative, so that we can actually think about our summer recovery program and customize to the needs that we're identifying. Because we don't want to restrict summer participation to just one program. The way we're going to offer that, and we'll talk about that in the next section, students will be able to sign up for more than one opportunity. But we also know that many families will want guidance on what is the best opportunity for their students based on where we believe those supports are needed.
Thank you for that. And so now, Ms. Silvestri, was that we're doing one question. We'll come back around even another one just so we can get to everybody. But did you get everything out?
I was going to say thank you.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Tenbite.
I have no questions. Thank you for the data presented. I did want to say that it's hopefully a good sign to see the level of engagement in Q4. I'm happy that students are tuning in. And thank you, Mr. Koussos, for providing the graduation ceremony update. I know that this is a hard time for many of us seniors, losing a lot of the events that we had hopefully planned for, but I'm happy that we're doing our best to really provide the supports during this time to a lot of our seniors. This graduation ceremony is one that I'm looking forward to, and I'm happy that Chef Jose Andres will be able to join us as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Dixon.
Thank you. I just wanted to go on record to state that I am in favor of the resolution for Odessa Shannon. My phone was put on hold, and so I was not able to speak, which could be a good thing. I don't know. But anyway, I do want to just say thank you to Dr. McKnight, Dr. Wilson, Mr. Koutsos, and Ms. McGuire for the update. I really have only one question, and it really relates to our seniors. And traditionally, before seniors graduate or could graduate, they had to, clear up all obligations with their high school. This can amount to substantial funds, and I'm wondering how is that going to work? Are students and parents going to be notified if they have obligations to the school, or are we going to write these off, or how will that work?
So Ms. Dixon, I'd be happy to respond in part to that question. And then if Dr. Wilson or others have things to add, I'll certainly stand aside. But we've been working with our schools and through the cap and gown distribution process. They've provided notifications to students if they've had outstanding textbooks, outstanding items that they needed to return. We've requested that families bring those back as they pick up their caps and gowns. We're hoping that that resolves a good number of perhaps outstanding obligations. We also know that our schools know our families best and know some of the challenges that individual families are facing economically during this very difficult time. And so we've advised schools and have counted on schools to really address these issues on a case-by-case basis. There's not been a recommendation to wholesale waive all senior obligations or all of those textbooks or items that we need returned, but there has definitely been a focus on care, on consideration, and on recognizing that families may need assistance. And so caps and gowns are being distributed regardless of whether or not there are obligations. We're making sure that students and families get what they need, and we're working with them on a case-by-case basis to address whatever may be outstanding.
Right. James, I think it would just be good for informational purposes to just have each school keep track of that, in terms of, what may be lost. I know, and from being a high school principal, that these obligations can total in the thousands of dollars, and generally I would carry them over, from year to year, because I always knew that we would get the money going out the door. But I think this year it's very, very different. And I think it would be interesting to, have us keep that information, however you all decide to deal with that, but just to know what the financial losses will be. I think it's really important to be good stewards of our funds and, to be aware of what that is. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. I hadn't forgot about you, but I'm glad that we were able to, Ms. Van Dyke is on the line and can get that on the record that you supported the resolution. So I appreciate you mentioning that for me. At this time, we will go to Mrs. Mondrosky.
Thank you. So I too want to add my thanks to everyone for all of the work that they've been doing. It's not easy work on a regular day, and to have to do so much of this virtually and everything else, I know has been quite a challenge. I also want to give a shout out to all of our seniors who are graduating and say, while it might not feel the same, it's still a very exciting time, and congratulations. And you did it. So that's great. This isn't my question. This is just a follow-up from some of the conversation. This with the Chromebooks, I'm so pleased to hear that we're heading in the direction of every student being able to have their own device. But I'm assuming the seniors will return their Chromebooks. Is that correct?
So I can respond to that as well. What we've wanted to do was ensure that our seniors and their families had access to technology if they needed it to view the universal graduation and the individual school ceremonies.
Yeah,
and
great.
So we've actually encouraged those families to retain their Chromebooks if they needed them to have access, but then can revisit through the work we're doing with Ms. McGuire and Mr. Adams and others to, after the ceremonies are completed, work with families to recollect Chromebooks from seniors who are moving on and graduating.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. But then my only other question is, I really appreciated seeing all of the data and having it been broken down the way it was and seeing who's engaged. I do still have a lot of concerns about how we are supporting our special education students, our ESOL students, our gifted and talented students. And I'm not suggesting that you need to give us a report on all of that specifically today, but if we could get a report on that sometime coming up, that would be very much appreciated. Also, I'm concerned about how we are supporting our alternative programs, including our RAP program. But any information about those kind of things that you could, either kind of quickly give us an update on or fill us in on at our next meeting would be great.
We will definitely do that, Ms. Smudrowski. In fact, that's an area of interest, obviously, to all of the staff and to all of our community members. And so we will, I don't know if we'll be able to have it in the June 11th meeting, just because there's a lot of stuff in the June 11th meeting.
Right.
But we will certainly have it, either at the end of June or the beginning of July, because we want to go back, because part of the next presentation is on recovery of learning, and that's going to be an essential part of that conversation as we talk about the recovery of a more typical systematic learning system for all kids.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I have. And so thank you all very much for your work.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate Mrs. Smudrowski bringing that up. And we don't want a quick update. We do want a discussion. So thank you. Ms. Wolf.
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank you for your thoughtful work. The presentation shows that you have put a lot of time and effort into thinking about how to make this work, because I know it sort of dropped in your lap really quickly. And I've been very impressed by what I've seen. So again, I just want to thank you, and I want you to thank everybody on your staff, because I know personally that you all have been working around the clock. I've had numerous discussions with any one of you on the weekends. I hope that you are spending some time with your own family. So thank you again.
Okay. All right. So this concludes it. I don't know if I can say it any better than my colleagues. We are very appreciative of all the hard work from our superintendent to our deputy superintendent on down to senior leadership, principals, administrators, everybody on the front lines, giving out over 2 million meals, Chromebooks, MiFi spots. So we just appreciate everybody, and just even the collaboration that we've had with our community partners. We have somehow found a way to get on track. We have a scheduled recess for 6:15, but let's take it now for 15 minutes, then we can come back and we can start up with item 7. So it is now 6:07. We'll act like it's 7:10. We'll come back at 6:25. So take a 15-minute break, and we'll see everyone in just a moment. Thank you.
Item 9.
Thank you and welcome back to the board's business meeting. We are at item 7, Montgomery County Public Schools Recovery Plan. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. I very much appreciated the staff and the information they just provided. I think what's most important as I listen to it is the striving to continue to improve every day, all the time. And I think as we look back to that rather fateful day on March 13th, when brick and mortar schools were inhabited by, our almost 200,000 children and adults for the last time, no one could have imagined where we'd be today. And that's both a statement of the seriousness of this circumstance, but it's also a statement of the absolute progress we've made. And so while we're not celebrating success and we're not celebrating the level of achievement and progress and learning and support for children that we know we need, we are celebrating continuous improvement. And that improvement would not have been possible without our 24,000 staff members. They are just amazing. And they have done so much good work during this time. I've had the chance to meet with several groups of them. With some of them, we've taped conversations. With others, we've just talked. One particular person I had the chance to talk with on the phone a couple of weeks ago, we want to highlight right now, because she is representative of these thousands of staff members. But first, I just want to say very, very sincerely, thank you. As I was walking in the office this morning, because I come here on Tuesdays and Thursdays to sign documents, because that's our mail day, and some of these things must be signed as original signatures. A person rolled down her window and she said, "Hey, good morning." And I said, "Good morning." And she said, "I'm on the security team and we've never met before, but I just wanted to say hi." And we had a nice visit from 6 feet apart. And she sat in her truck and getting ready to go out and do the work of the system. And so thank you to 24,000 people for your dedication, for truly supporting children's well-being and learning from no matter what role you serve in. It doesn't matter, it all counts. It all makes a positive difference. And 2 weeks ago, we announced our Teacher of the Year. Now in October, we'll have our Champions for Children's program live. We may have to be socially distanced, but I'm confident it will be all together somewhere appropriately, following all the rules. And we will honor administrators, support professionals, we'll honor our teacher again and do those things. We needed to announce our teacher, though, this spring because she will now be part of the Maryland State Teacher of the Year program. So we want to highlight a very special person now. Her name is Inga Chichester. She teaches at Sligo Middle School. She is amazing. I had the chance to visit with her on the phone for a little while after her name was called. And I just so look forward to visiting her classroom and her school. I've been to Sligo several times. It's a terrific school. And so we want to show you a little bit about what Inga Chichester, our brand newly crowned Teacher of the Year for Montgomery County Public Schools, does every day. So let's show this video of Ms. Chichester.
As we're walking in, she usually says, "Good morning, family. Today's
Thankful Thursday. Welcome back. Thank you for coming to school today, Stallions."
It really makes you consider all the things that teachers and people do for you.
New day, new opportunity.
These kids are my family. I truly believe that they have been placed in my class for a reason. And so when they enter this room, it's about establishing a feel of family, an environment where people feel safe.
And that helps all students feel respected and cared for, and it helps grow a better relationship between her and us.
I do believe that you are geniuses.
I want my kids at the end of the day to feel like, hey, I matter to someone.
She's like always been there for me whenever I need to talk about something, whenever I'm having a hard time, I could always talk to her.
Our kids are the future leaders. They are in fact global citizens and they don't even realize it yet.
My time in Ms. Chichester's class truly inspired me not only then, but now as a board member. And she inspired me to give back to my community.
I want my students to remember me as a warm demander.
You've got this.
I want them to remember me as someone that held them to high expectations, but loved them to life at the same time. People will say, I love you to death, but what does that mean? To love you to life means I want to see you live. I want to see you prosper. And so I just want my kids each and every day to know that if no one else has said to them on that day, I love you, I need them to know that I do.
Thank you, Ms. Chichester, and thank you to all of our MCPS staff. And as we go through the coming days and weeks together and move toward the recovery of learning and the reestablishment of school, not in a crisis, not in a pandemic, but school as the essential purpose for our existence, learning and well-being, we'll look to you as a model for that, Ms. Chichester. So I will now turn to Dr. McKnight as we talk about the recovery of learning and moving forward. Dr. McKnight.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. I tell you, that was so powerful. Ms. Chichester represents exactly what every student desires to have, and that's someone who loves and cares for them as people in their learning. So we just celebrate her and all that she represents. As I reflect on her and who she is, I just, again, think about all that it will take and all that it has taken for us to come to where we are. And as we talk about the recovery of learning or educational plan in MCPS, it really is thinking about every single student, every single teacher, and taking all that we have learned from the last couple of months and saying, how do we build on that? And how do we learn from it and prepare for our future meaning the summer and fall. So with that said, as the school year ends, we are actually shifting our focus to summer opportunities and planning for the new school year and what that will look like. I'll say that one of our associate superintendents, Diane Morris, she shared a good analogy a few weeks ago, and it was really on spot. She described it as a shifting from crisis learning to distance learning. And I think we all have just focused on how important it is to move from crisis mode and what we've learned from it to plan for the future, which is exactly where we are. So it's not to say that we haven't really built real structures and protocols for student learning from March 15th. And in fact, I'll say that I'm confident that we have built steps and have made leaps and bounds ahead of what others have been able to do and have been able to accomplish given the circumstances. So rather, what we built really fits the needs of what we were experiencing, which was a crisis. And so, of course, that was filled with lots of unknown things, lots of anxiety, and really just dealing with everything that came at us in real time. And so what we've learned from that experience in real time, it gives us some things to build on, some things that we want to continue to do, some things that we will stop doing and start to do as we plan for the summer and fall. So moving forward, we're able to plan and build from the long-term plan, I would say, from the greater sense of COVID-19 and the impact that it's had on us and really trying to learn from that. We also want to develop a greater understanding of what is possible, establish a goal of providing ultimately an experience that's going to be more closely aligned to the real school experience that students left back in March that we've been trying to connect to in this online platform. But again, moving forward, what have we learned from this platform that will help us continue to build out a plan for the experience that mattered to students and doing that as much as possible as we think about a plan moving forward online and thinking about as we lessen some of the health criteria, what that could look like as we build on that into moving back into a school experience when we're ready to. So today I'd like to outline some of the areas that will be focused on and moving forward in our recovery plan that we have diligently been working on. And it has actually been a pleasure to connect with many of our stakeholders within the system, our teachers, our principals, our central office staff, our community leaders, really all just to start a conversation around this experience, what we've learned from it, and what is it that everyone takes forward in thinking about what the needs should be in our recovery plan of education in MCPS moving forward. So Dr. Wilson, Ms. Morris, and Ms. Rubin, they're going to provide a more detailed account of the MCPS recovery plan's charge statement, and then the ways that we are engaging our staff and community, particularly in the planning of the recovery plan. So Dr. Wilson, Ms. Morris, and Ms. Rubin are going to provide those particular details to you. So at this time, I'll just turn it over to Dr. Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. McKnight. If we could go to slide 2, please. Really, our recovery plan efforts are two-pronged. First, the short term is summer, and what we will be doing in the summer to make sure that we can, A, mitigate further loss or restore some of the lost learning that we know that our teachers and our schools will help us identify. As we think about the summer program and the program for the fall, it's really about restoring, reconstructing, and redesigning both the summer and our 2021 school year. I'd like to just speak a few minutes to summer. Ms. Silvestri brought this up earlier in the earlier presentation, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on the intentionality here too, that we will be applying to make sure that we invite our students into our summer school opportunities. We are at this point in time engaging with our association partners and other stakeholders to reimagine, if you will, and to revisit our traditional summer programming, especially in the context that will likely have to be delivered in a remote status. We're also seeking to partner with agencies to create innovative and remote opportunities. And we're aiming to serve as many students who indicate to us that they want to come and receive intervention and enrichment, again, aimed at mitigating further loss and restoring lost learning. We are using our articulation process. We are having teachers reflect not only on where students were at the time of the closure, but given that we are doing standards-based instruction, especially our elementary schools with our benchmark and our Eureka math and English language arts delivery, teachers will be able to reflect on students' acquisition of the standards and the skills that we want them to be able to exhibit and be able to do. So there will be, as I said, a tool go out so that we can invite students. Schools will be working with us to make sure that we extend invitations to students so that they can participate in our summer programs. Moving on to the fall part of the program and thinking about what we need to do there. When we think about the possibility of remote, the possibility of in school or a combination, it's critically important that as we work with our stakeholders, we have to keep a couple of very vital pieces in mind. And I'm going to phrase these around questions, thinking about what will the structure and the restructure of time look like, depending upon, again, where we are with our ability to go into schools, in part. We have to think about and ask the question about the instructional program. As Dr. McKnight indicated, we're moving towards now being responsive to standing up a very robust instructional program that meets the needs of all of our students.
Dr. Wilson, you're on mute.
I must have hit the bar, sorry. It's also extremely important that we ask the question, how can we maximally ensure that our students have social opportunities and opportunities to collaborate, no matter what setting they're in. And we also have to make sure that we are thinking about age, the age of our students, their abilities, and most importantly, our service group students, and making sure that we design with those things in mind. And last but not least, the social and emotional pieces of what we need to plan for as we move from the continuity of learning through summer into the fall. So we have worked on a charge statement, and I'm going to read the charge statement. And if we could go back to slide 2, it really encompasses the preparation for the 2021 school year in whatever modality that we're in, and with intentionality to reach each and every student with where they are. So the recovery plan is and the folks that will be working on it are charged with creating a return to learning program for 2021 that's guided by research, addresses student needs, and facilitates multiple modalities of teaching and learning that envisions reaching students in person and remotely. The plan must include strategies for strengthening engagement with students and school communities, fostering academic excellence, differentiating supports for students and staff, effective and tailored ongoing professional development opportunities for all staff, and creating timely communication and feedback opportunities so that we can ensure that we're in a continuous improvement mode. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Morris, who will provide further details about the project team and how we will bring this charge statement to life and meet this intended goal statement.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. It's so great to see everyone. I pray that you and your families are well. This is really exciting work at a time where we are faced with challenges. And we're really thinking forward, and we're thinking about, to Dr. Wilson's point, how do we create a program that meets all of the different needs of our students? Part of the recovery and reentry plan includes community engagement through project teams. We identified the charge statement, which really defined what it was that we were setting out to do. And then through that, we developed deliverables. What is it that at the end we expect to have to be able to provide you that maps out how we're going to engage in this work? In order to do that, we really thought about developing some distinct teams that you see here on this slide. Dr. Wilson discussed the summer school and extended year, and that's really now work. How do we plan for a robust program for students to address gaps, but also to provide unique enrichment opportunities that provide us to be innovative and think differently about how we are connecting with our kids and the experiences that we're providing them. Within the summer school and extended year, we'll be looking at criteria so that we are able to provide students with individual invitations to our summer programs. We're also going to be looking at protocols for how data is used, and again, those core offerings. Professional learning is so important during this time, and we want to ensure that we're creating relevant needs-based summer professional learning opportunities for our staff to really facilitate teaching and learning on a variety of platforms and methods. As Dr. Wilson shared, we don't know exactly what the future holds, but we want to ensure that we are prepared and that we have given staff the tools that they need so that if they're continuing in an online platform, it's engaging, it's creative, and it's meeting the needs of our students. And to do that, we need to ensure that we're meeting the needs of our staff. And we also want to provide that ongoing PD. We call it the just-in-time professional learning, and that means that as we are rolling this out, as we see and hear from our staff, that we're able to provide them in that time span to be able to really address those needs and not ignoring them or waiting. Curriculum instruction and assessment is another design team, and they're really going to be looking at how are they providing authentic learning, cross-curricular resources for students to develop meaningful learning anchored with the big picture in mind that builds higher knowledge, leverages existing background knowledge, and provides opportunities to create and make meaning of the learning. We also want to ensure that we're creating opportunities for learning grounded in appropriate learning theory that provides for flexibility in modalities and schedules for learning. We can't say enough about our social emotional learning component and the Be Well 365 and how important it is to meet the needs of our students and our staff during this time. We know that there are many, many people who are experiencing who have experienced trauma during this crisis, that their normal daily routine has been turned upside down, for lack of a better phrase. And so how do we address them to ensure that we have specific interventions and wraparound supports and mental health supports that are needed to ensure that students are available for learning? And then another big component, health and operations. We're talking about logistics, safety, and budget. So how are we going to fund these programs and wraparound services? What will the new normal look like when we're back in schools? How do we ensure that we are in compliance with CDC guidelines? A lot of this, as we're starting to think about this work, is really embedded in the research that currently exists through countries that have already opened up, lessons learned that we can take from them. Dr. Smith is such an avid reader and is always sending really interesting things for us to consider. And so as a large team and as the district, we're really exploring that body of research to see what would work in a large system like ours to ensure that safety is number one. Because again, it's about attending to people's needs. And if they don't feel safe, then the learning can't happen at the level that we need it to happen. Communication and feedback, critically important that we keep the community informed. And so we want to ensure that we have timelines, communication plans, and feedback loops established. And we need to look at our policies and regulations. Because even if they say it is okay to go back, there may be some families who don't feel comfortable with that. So what does attendance look like? What might need to happen with grading and reporting? We appreciate the board's flexibility thus far as we've been navigating this new normal. And so we want to continue conversations. We want to continue to explore what might need to be altered during this time. And then, of course, technology. We have done so much around technology, but we know that we need to continue to assess the needs of our community to ensure that everyone has what they need, from students to staff, in order to move forward in the recovery and reentry plan. The next slide is around community engagement. And here we want to reaffirm our commitment to a multi-pronged approach to ensure that our key stakeholder partners are included in the co-creation plan. We are not looking to build something and roll it out, but really to engage as we go to ensure that we are meeting the needs of all stakeholders. We'll be doing this through a variety of different venues, but we really are looking, it's going to be based from the Maryland Strong Roadmap to Recovery, the CDC guidelines, as well as many discussions with our local health officials to inform kind of what is at the root of our plan. And so one of the ways that we want to engage the community in that is through a survey, which will ask, what are your priorities? What do you hope to see included in our plan? And so these are the opportunities that we'll be creating along the way to ensure that we are gathering feedback, we're making adjustments, and that this really gives the community and our students and staff what they need in order to be successful.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Morris, for that. We'll transition right now to Ms. Rubens, who will talk about the student well-being portion of the recovery plan. Ms. Rubens.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the student well-being, I thought earlier in the presentation, Dr. McKnight, you did a really excellent job of talking about the student well-being plan. Just to build on that, a huge part of our work has certainly been collaborative, as we are looking at the school component, our school-based members, and the work that they're engaged in. And the great thing about the student well-being plan is that we have both the academic as well as the physical, social, and psychological well-being of the students in mind. So the academic teams as well as the student well-being teams, they come together And we're looking at not only which students are not engaging, but what can we do about increasing the efficacy, the wellness of the students as they are engaging. And certainly our social emotional learning curriculum has been a huge part of that. And that will continue. I think the great thing about that is that we're planning for that to continue throughout the summer, as well as in the fall, as we build that in as an inherent component of the work that our students are receiving. I think we are strengthening our agency partnerships. So looking at increasing the partnership between us and DHHS, as well as linkages to learning. Certainly they offer an array of services in the district, and how are we wrapping around to ensure that our students and our families are supported through this time. And I think one thing that's important to mention, and I think something that we're seeing not only through the student well-being teams, but as well as the graduation validation teams, we see teachers and staff members reporting that there are some students who are even more engaged, and they're saying, this actually kind of works for me. I feel good about the online portion. I'm really adept at technology, and so it works really well. And then we're finding students that were not previously disengaged have. And so it's almost like a flip. And the great thing about having that team that consists of the pupil personnel workers, the parent community coordinators, counselors, teachers, staff development teachers. The great thing about having that wraparound service is that we've moved to a case management system that allows us to take a look at the student, who the student was sort of pre-COVID and who they are post-COVID. And never thought we would have to look at it that way, but that's kind of the way we're looking at it. I actually think it's the way of the future and the way forward for us, because it's a whole child approach, which is what we've always talked about. But I think we've been able to actualize it as a result of this pandemic.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Min, for that. And so thank you, Dr. Wilson, Ms. Morris, and again, Ms. Rubin. As you can see, it really has been our commitment to actively engage staff, as I mentioned earlier, and community members in this process. And we do that because we want to ensure and know and understand our stakeholders' perspectives, as they've had some experiences now to share with us, and we want to be able to build on that. Students are also an important integral part of this planning, and we will include the new student member of the board and other students to get both input and feedback as we move into our summer learning as well as the fall, because the goal is to be able to continue to revisit, learn from, and build upon our plans. So at this time, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Evans to facilitate the board discussion. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. I'm going to ask board members by show of hands, do you have any questions or comments you wanted to ask during this section? Okay. I won't go through everybody if that's the case. Okay, so from what I can tell, I think it's just Ms. Silvestri. Go ahead, Ms. Silvestri.
Yes, so wanted to ask specifically about the Learn Cover for the summer. We are 2 weeks away from the end of the school year. And so I would like to better understand how and at what point parents will get that notification that they're being invited to participate, and when that would start, when the programming would start, and are we talking about all online at this point?
Thank you, Ms. Silvestri. We actually have already come up with a list of summer courses that we're just going to offer online that have, particularly for secondary, been really popular courses that students would take every summer. And all of that will be online. And we actually will be putting something out, I believe it's this week. Sharing with the community exactly what those courses are. So that will be one part of it. And so right now we are planning for online experiences, but also at the same time planning for the opportunity, if we're able to bring in smaller groups of students later. The timeline that you spoke about earlier really was based on our previous summer school program starting end of July or end of June, some mid-June, early July. But we are looking at pushing it back a little bit if we, based on the circumstances to start in July, but it may be a week or two later into July to give us time to actually do the planning for the experiences, the experiences in which we will bring some smaller groups of students into the building, if we are able to do that. Outside of that, we're planning for the online experiences for everything. So it's really like two trains on one track. This is what we're going to do for online experiences, but at the same time, we're planning for if we're able to bring small groups of students into building settings.
Wow, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Mrs. ONeal.
Yes, I have a question, and it may be in the weeds, but one of the most popular secondary courses is Honors Health. And we've had online Honors Health for a number of years, but a component of it has been a requirement for some element or for some days to actually be in front of a teacher. And I know, we don't know what the CDC guidelines or local health restrictions will be this summer, but if we reimagine that course, and if you can't answer that minute detail right now, if you can just get back to me.
We can get back to you, but I can say that was actually one of the courses when we started to pull data, because we started to say what is going to be necessary to offer. And so we started by pulling the courses that we saw as most popular courses every summer. That one, definitely for the reasons you raised, have been one that we have looked at and really thinking about what the adjustments are that we can make to make sure it's offered, because it was one that represented lots of popularity among our students. Dr. Wilson, did you have anything else to add to that one?
No, I will just say that we are certainly planning the summer programs. It is our intent that the second week of June, we will be through our website advertising the types of opportunities that we're going to have available. We're looking at the start date for most programs to be the second week in July, the 13th, with some possible starting as early as the 6th, and certainly some professional development also happening the week of the 6th to support the teachers and our paraprofessionals in delivering that. And as I also mentioned, we're also reaching out to many of our partners in the community to offer some innovative things that are moving outside the boundaries of what we've traditionally offered. They might be a 2-week program. I'm just going to throw one out, maybe a culinary experience for our students. That might just be a 2-week program for 1 hour a day. So we're trying to think out of the box to keep kids engaged and interested, so that, honoring sort of the situation that they're all in, and being held up in homes, and trying to keep their interest in learning.
Okay, thank you. So there aren't any other questions from other board members. We can move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 9, the district-wide boundary analysis. Dr. Smith?
Yes, thank you. So as we've worked this year on the district-wide boundary analysis, as one of our public comments indicated today, it has been a topic of much discussion, and we want to continue to do that work and complete it, and we're going to recommend to the board today that we make every effort to complete it by next December 1st, and use the fall and whatever mechanisms are available to us in the fall once school resumes, and however it looks, that we continue the community stakeholder part of the community stakeholder engagement part of the plan, as well as finalizing all of the information which should serve the community and the school system well for at least the next 5 or 7 years around the utilization of our buildings and how our enrollment and attendance areas are configured with our students, and all the 4 factors that are in our policy that indicates how important it is to consider the geographic location. It is so important to consider the students who attend the school and the diversity of those students, the poverty levels, for example, and it's also critically important especially in Montgomery County where the vast number of schools are at or above capacity, to understand the utilization. So Mr. Turner and Ms. McGuire are here to provide information and then ask the board to make a decision about whether or not you think the path forward that we've laid out makes sense or not for this very important work. So I'll turn over to Ms. McGuire and Mr. Turner to give the presentation and then follow up with board discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Smith and board members. So as Dr. Smith was saying, we really wanted to bring this project to the board's attention at this time, really to be cognizant of the situation that, of course, we're all in terms of dealing with this public health crisis. The board did first adopt the resolution to approve this comprehensive analysis of our school and cluster boundaries last January 2019. And in that resolution specified that the final report would be due back to the board this June. And we were actually making progress towards that goal. We have worked through the milestones that the board had set forth in the resolution in terms of working with the public and having engagement around a number of the aspects of the analysis and of the project. We did issue the interim report on March 20th, and that interim report really did bring together the extensive research that the community had been doing, their work with the community and with the data and features of the county and of the district, and that work really was brought together in the interim report. Of course, just before we issued the interim report really is when the closure occurred and when the schools were shut down. And so since that time, of course, by necessity, our focus and our energy has been devoted exclusively to that effort. And as such, we did need to ask our consultants to continue their work, but it was, again, in the context that we knew that we were going to need to move forward with the emergency at hand. At this point, though, we certainly feel, as Dr. Smith articulated, that the work itself continues to be important and continues to be an opportunity to provide a real foundational body of work for the board for future decision making. And the interim report, again, brought together a lot of the research and elements that we wanted to move forward, but there is more work to be done to build off of those elements and to continue to move that work forward and to continue to bring it forward into, again, the new context that we know we will be experiencing. So we want to continue to build on the work in terms of the capacity of the schools and enrollment pressures, in terms of the geography and transportation pressures, which we will continue to experience, as well as, again, continuing to look at the makeup of our schools and how we can best serve all students within the context of the physical school facility issues that we experience. So our proposal is to the board that we are able, once we've established our school system through some of these transitions that we're working through, that we would be able to continue to pick up that analytical work with our consultants and to continue to pick up with the community engagement elements of it that are so important. We do want to be able to really engage with our community in a conversation about the interim report that frankly got interrupted, again, with the emergency that we're dealing with. But we really do feel confident that we can find innovative opportunities to continue that conversation while still being mindful of the conditions that we're in. But there are, I believe, and I think we will continue to work forward to find those opportunities to really have that conversation and to have meaningful ways to engage folks around both what the report has shown us and how we can bring it into this new context. So again, as Dr. Smith said, that is the resolution that we bring to you, is the proposal that we would continue with that work, that we would take the time needed to, again, really continue to do that fully and do that work with our community and aim to bring you a report back in December that would conclude that next phase of the project. Just a couple of other notes that I want to address that have been questions raised in this conversation and a little bit in testimony earlier. The only dollars that are available to us to to devote to this contract is the original amount that the board has already approved. There are no additional dollars that would be allocated to this. We certainly don't anticipate that, and we're not approved to have additional dollars. And so again, we will work within the existing budget that we have, and we've been clear with the consultants that those are our parameters also. So just want to say that us taking additional time is not a monetary requirement. And then we also just really, again, wanted to emphasize that the community aspect, the community engagement aspect continues to be a very central purpose to this work. And we really feel like there are a number of important conversations that we can have to build out the interim report. A lot of the reactions that we had and conversations that we had, even working up and into the interim report, really gave us those ideas of what we wanted to do next, and some of those pieces that we knew we could build out and continue to frame out and to really elevate, that I think the community will appreciate seeing and that we want to bring forward. So that's, again, sort of a check-in and a progress update of where we are and what our thoughts are. And that's the resolution that is before the board now, is really just to extend that time frame to December. And again, to just take note, of course, of the unusual circumstances that we are experiencing at this time.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. McGuire, for that presentation and just update on what we want to do. I'm going to ask board members, can you show me your hands who wants to make a comment? I see Ms. Wolf, you have unmuted yourself. So, okay, so that's almost everybody. All right, so I will start with Ms. Wolf.
No, I didn't want to make a comment. I wanted to move approval on the extension for the final report to December 2020.
Okay, and we can get a second and then have a discussion, so.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. So I saw Ms. Silvestri, I saw you raise your hand. And Ms. ONeal, I'll get you next.
Thank you. So Ms. McGuire, I just wanted to make sure that I understood that the next phase of the work that will restart in the fall will be more community engagement, processing the interim report. That's part of the community engagement that remains done. Is that correct?
That is correct. Again, the interim report did bring together not only the research that had been able to be conducted in that first phase of the report, but really was shaped and molded by the conversations that we had with the community, by a number of both the large and small meetings, by questions and other comments that had come in. And that's a process that we want to continue. We feel like, again, there are elements to the report that we really want to dive in with people, understand folks' continued questions and reactions and comments. And that, again, will help us inform, will help inform that next final report and the next phase of the report as well. So we absolutely would continue that conversation.
And what type of analysis remains to be done?
So there's a lot in the report, in the interim report. There's a lot there, but there are a number of questions that continue. And I think that in some ways, the interim report had sort of the full breadth and broad stroke view of it. We want to drill down in some of those areas and see, how do the different factors really intersect and interweave with each other. I think that the interim report was sort of that first step to say, this is what we know about each factor. But that next step is really to blend them and see the intersection and interaction of them in ways that, again, we haven't quite gotten to in the first part of the interim report.
Thank you.
So next we'll hear from Mrs. ONeal, then Ms. Dixon, then Mrs. Mondrosky. Thank you.
I don't think that this delay is coming as a big surprise to folks. I mean, I think for the past 2.5 months, folks have been focused on health, well-being, their children's disrupted education, and economics. And we know that many families have been hit hard here in Montgomery County. And I just want to say, I mean, I still have the interim report sitting on my coffee table, and I've had a lot of time to read. But I also want to emphasize that there are two factors that sometimes fall to the wayside that are even more important today. One, the issue about walkability and us maximizing walkers. And that will be very, very important in this post-COVID era, because we know the guidance that we're seeing from the CDC about number of children on a bus in one child to a seat, every other row empty, could seriously impact our ability to transport children as we knew it prior to March 13th. The other thing is that as we focus on the 4 factors in FAA, we also need to remember that in FAA, it speaks to adjacency. And those 2 factors were factors that the consultant was looking at. And I know the interactive tool that would have been rolled out and given people had the opportunity to play with would have also looked at the issue about maximizing walkers and adjacency. And I don't want that conversation or those 2 items lost. And I appreciate the fact that you've clarified that there is not an additional request for money.
Thank you, Mrs. ONeal. Ms. Dixon.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. I wanted to just thank Ms. McGuire for giving an update on, the status of the report. And I am in agreement with, that, we need to take a pause here and allow our consultants to do their work. And I also want to thank Ms. McGuire for clarifying that, no additional funds are going to be spent, or another $450,000 on this. I was very disturbed to hear that put out during public comments today. And I think, speculation in these things is just not helpful. And so I appreciate your clarifying that, Essie. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Mrs. Mondrosky.
I didn't have anything, actually.
Okay. I thought I saw your hand. Okay. So at this point, thank you, Ms. McGuire, for giving us that update. And I'm also in agreement with us pausing for a moment. And so at this time, we will go to the next item on the agenda, which is item 10.
Did we vote on that?
We did not. We didn't. So I got a motion in a second, right? I'm ready to whip through this, as you can see. Okay, so there's a motion in a second to extend the time on the boundary analysis. And all those in favor, Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon? So I'm gonna come back around to her. I think we lost her. Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Mrs. ONeal?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Mondrosky?
Yes.
Yes.
And then that's a yes from me. And then I will check back in with Ms. Dixon. Ms. Dixon? I think her call got dropped. Let me just check. Please bear with us. We are virtually meeting, so these are things that happen. So what we can do is, so I'll go ahead and say that this is unanimous with those that It's a unanimous vote with those that are present, and then we'll come back to Ms. Dixon and get her on the record. I did want to give her an opportunity. So, Ms. Dixon?
Well, Shepard, what
Yes.
I did was shut myself off.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. It happens. I could easily do that. So we were waiting on you. So we've moved
I
this
had to dial back in.
Okay, no problem. So you're right in time. You're right on time to give your vote to extend the boundary analysis.
Yes, I am in favor.
Okay, so that is unanimous. Thank you. So thank you, Ms. Wolf, Vice President, for keeping me on track here. I'm trying to get to the end, not keep you all on the call too long, but I do want to do protocol. So now we're at item 10, where we will be discussing the FY 2021 operating budget. Dr. Smith?
Yes, this will be me today, and obviously Dr. McKnight and other members of the staff who are on today can chime in, but I want to provide some context and some information about kind of where we are and what the process has been around the FY21 budget. So we went through a very typical budget process, and I recommended a budget to the board in December, and the board spent all of January and half of February reviewing, debating, adjusting the budget, and it was $44 million or so over the maintenance of effort requirement of the local government to fund schools. And we know that we get local funding for our budget, and we also get state funding. And in the second week of January, when the governor's budget came out, that indicated that we would get $38 million of new state funding. And so looking at the $25 million of maintenance of effort and the $38 million of new state funding, that makes $63 million. And then there is the issue of the $44 million over maintenance of effort. And we were rolling along with the county executive and the county council and talking about funding this budget and continuing to advance our very clear goal in this county of maintaining the excellence that's been there for so long. And we have a lot of data that shows that excellence has actually grown and provided more access, opportunity, and high levels of achievement for more students, and many of them students who heretofore hadn't had those opportunities in the same way. As we think about our dear friend Odessa Shannon and what she championed, she and I would often sit in my office and look at the students who were being successful in the advanced placement programs, the IB programs, the career technology programs, getting into elementary enrichment programs and middle school upper level math programs. And then COVID-19 hit. And on March 25th, the county government took a vote. It was a theoretical vote, but what it said is the county council said, we're going to fund a same services budget. And for us, we knew that meant that it was highly unlikely that we would be able to maintain that $44 million over maintenance of effort. And we continued to be engaged with them. You and I wrote a letter on behalf of the board and sent it and said, well, these are our priorities: to keep the body and soul of the school system together and not lose the essential critical services, supports, learning and well-being mechanisms that have been so valuable here. To really look at what's going to happen as we do think about moving to a less crisis-based learning system. And as Dr. McKnight offered the language, I think in the letter, as we were all reviewing it, to normalize the experience of coming back to school in whatever way that looked like after this, to build out systems of well-being, and you've heard about those today, the teams, the integration of student services with schools and with instruction and with all of our folks in school support, and how all that looked, and then to build out a technology infrastructure. And we had a good conversation earlier, the board members did, about, well, what will happen with the Chromebooks? And I'm so happy we're going to have technology in the hands of every student. And then also the other topic that's come up several times today is professional learning, to make sure that we had the professional learning for our teachers for this new world, and the significantly increased time for non-school day learning, summer learning, after school learning, Saturday learning next year. So July 1 of 20 to July 1 of 21 would have a lot more opportunities across the board for children and adolescents to engage in learning things they've missed this spring, learning things that they need to progress, enrichment and acceleration of learning things they're interested in, like Dr. Wilson was saying. So all of that's going to take money. So when we think about our funding, and a week ago today, the County Council did come together and vote to fund the school system at maintenance of effort. In this environment, I think that I can only say I really appreciated that, because they know they're facing tremendous challenges with revenue in the coming year. We all know that. And to deny it is to be unreasonable and to not accept the facts. So how do we take the $38 million in new state money, the $25 million in maintenance of effort money, and then about $22 to $23 million we'll get out of the federal CARES legislation, and that will be essentially our new money for next year. And how do we juxtapose that against the accelerators and the new initiatives that we wanted to do against, and that was $23 million in our budget, against the inflation and the realignments and whatever new money in grants would come in, that's about not quite $19 million, and then our growth. And so we've been talking with board members individually. You've all talked to Henry Johnson on the phone, you've all talked to Janet Wilson and to Monifa McKnight and to many different people about the different programs individually. You've all asked questions and sent requests for information around many of our accelerators and our base programs. And the way that we're going to be able to do this is to look at really limiting those accelerators that we can do to the ones that show the most promise, that we've started and we want to build on, and really not do some of the things that we had hoped to do next year as new work. We also have looked at and talked to individual board members about looking at those activities in the school system that we hold dear, but that we can delay for a half a year or a year because they're not going to work for us in the fall, most likely anyway. A good example is outdoor education. That's probably not a place where we want to spend a couple of $1 million in the fall, because we're not going to put students in those tight quarters, most likely in this environment. Another is Finance Park and taking every 7th grader there. There are just many, many of the activities that we're not going to let go of permanently, but that we're going to come back to as we know they are possible, they are safe, they are appropriate for the health and safety and well-being of all of our students and staff. And then the final thing that we have to think about, and I want to talk the most about this, is growth. We actually had 2,587 new K through 12 students this year. That's the number on October 1st that showed up. That's in our paperwork, that's everywhere, that's what our maintenance of effort's based on, 2,587. We were expecting 2,758 new students, K-12. We'll set pre-K aside for a minute because that's not part of how we're funded in this way. 2,758 new students next year, first day of school. So August the 29th, 30th, whatever the first day of school is next year. I've lost it in my head for a minute. So I started doing some analysis of our growth. Last year, between October 1st and May 15th, which is the most recent number I have, we gained K-12 about 600 of those 2,587 students. And that was net gain of students. About 600 more students came during that time. And then not quite 2,000 more came between May 15th and October 1st. This year, we've only gained 60% of that. And in fact, during the COVID-19 time, we've actually lost K-12 students. We had more of them before March 13th than we do now in that gain. So we've lost, and as Dr. Wilson said earlier, as we've tracked down each student, and we have found that some have moved away. A very small number have said, we're not going to do this online thing, it doesn't work for our family. I think the number on the screen was 71. But a larger number have said, we've moved to a different place because of work, because of family, because of circumstances. So we had planned and funded for 2,758 new students next year. And it looks like we're more likely to get about, on the trends we've looked at right now, at about 60% of that number. So the other place we're going to have to look, and we've already started this process and we'll be calling board members and talking with you individually in the next 2 weeks, is to bring down that growth number so that we accurately plan. Now, when we bring that growth number down, it allows us to use the funding in that growth number to provide that professional learning for our staff on safeties and on sanitizing and on social distancing. And what does that look like on a bus, in a cafeteria, in a hallway, in a classroom? All of that. It allows us to talk about online instruction. How do you do distance learning? How do you do synchronous face-to-face learning with children? How do we do small groups in distance learning, that professional learning? It allows us to buy more technology to make sure that we have every student outfitted with connectivity and a digital device before school starts in the fall. And it allows us to build out, as the team said earlier, lots more time this summer, after school next year, during the school day in some ways, and on Saturdays and non-school days, to provide those enriched extended learning experiences for children because of this situation we've had for the last, what will be 3 months almost to the day when school ends on June 15th. So it's going to be that combination of looking at our growth and making good estimates of what that's going to look like. And it's going to be the money supplied by the state, the Maintenance of Effort, and the CARES Act coming together to allow us to balance this budget, add some new things that we desperately need around technology, professional learning, and out-of-school time learning for lots and lots of students, while making sure we're well prepared for the growth that will actually show up. And I do think we will have growth. From everything we've looked at and all the analysis, we probably will grow somewhere between 1,400 and 1,800 students. So about 1,000 down, even 1,200 or 1,400 down from what we expected. And that's first grade through 12th grade. Now you notice I just left pre-K and kindergarten out. Let's talk about them. Pre-K, it's very difficult. And as Ms. Silvestri asked earlier, the way it connects to childcare is going to be extremely important for us to pay attention to. And we've begun to have conversations in our county around how we bring together childcare programs and pre-K programs in our schools. We currently run before and after school programs, but if we have to run a model of distance learning and face-to-face learning with appropriate safety guards in that face-to-face learning, then we're going to have to connect that to pre-K. With our kindergarten, we're right now a few thousand students lower than we were a year ago today with registrations. So we have been for the last over 6 weeks or so, but we are really continuing to ramp up to reach every family to get our kindergartners registered. As we think about recovery of learning, we're going to have to think about how do we meet the needs of our youngest learners in a physical environment, because that's what they need. They're not in the same position as a 5th grader or a 7th grader or a 9th grader or a 11th grader to do as much digitally. And so that's going to have to be a part of the conversation about serving our youngest children and being part of the childcare solution and part of the learning solution and the learning solution for them. So when we look at all of this, and how it fits together. Dr. Johnson and I, Dr. McKnight, and many of our other staff members will be talking with board members in the next 2 weeks about how the growth, the new state money for maintenance of effort from the state government, and the CARES Act fit together to create the best possible opportunities for our students that will be here at the end of August. And that's how our budget's going to have to fit together. And the good news is that it does provide flexibility, because whether we're hiring new teachers or we're hiring our teachers to do more summer and after school work, it's all making sure we have teachers. And when we do professional learning, it's making sure we have professional learning for the teachers who are with us, and the support staff who are with us, and the administrators who are with us. And then the technology, just making sure we have the technology to hand to every student, and make sure they're connected in a meaningful and consistent way through the internet, because that is a 21st century requirement, just like a textbook was a 20th century requirement for a student. And so that's a broad overview of where we are with the budget, but it's not a great picture, but it is a picture that we can make work given all of these factors and how they come together. And as we look at our growth, and we're getting ever closer to knowing in the moment what that will be. And so we're in a much better position today to talk about growth than we would have been in March or April to see what has actually happened with us. So I will stop there and we can have a discussion, but that's the lay of the land and the way the budget will need to look as we come to June 11th.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Smith. I will ask board members to just give me a show of hands of who would like to make a comment, who has a question. COVID-19, we could not have predicted it, but as Dr. Smith said, we do want to make certain that we still maintain our high levels of commitment to our students, and the board's priorities is what drives the budget. And so as we will be deliberating over the next few weeks and speaking with Dr. Smith and leadership, I won't speak for everybody, but I will say my thinking will be around what will be best for students. So I didn't see any hands. I'll make assumptions that nobody has any comments or questions that they want to make, and we can move on to the next item on the agenda. Okay. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Smith. And we will look forward to talking to everyone. At this time, we will move now to item 11. The item for discussion is the preliminary plans for Clarksburg Cluster Elementary School number 9. Dr. Smith, I'll turn it over to you.
Mr. Adams is here today along with Mr. Porter, and they're going to share with you the preliminary plans for Clarksburg Elementary number 9.
Well, thank you, Dr. Smith. With a little bit of a change here with Zoom meeting, we do have our architects that are in the audience, but I do have with me Ms. Chiho Shiabaski from our team that will also assist in the presentation. So I guess I would start and say, I know it's very difficult to transition and to fit this presentation into the overall conversations that you have all had today, but the reality is that we still need to look towards the future as well as we move in our modes of recovery. And that is why we're here today, is to start the conversations around the preliminary plans presentation for the new Clarksburg Elementary School number 9. Before I really dive into the plans, and I will be brief today, this is a prototype school, which I know many of you have seen, so we will just highlight a few features. But I felt it was necessary just to bring the board up to speed in terms of where this project fits with the current capital program. And as of last week, during council reconciliation, this project was delayed 1 year. With that, we are not slowing down on design. We're going to continue very aggressively with design, and that is why we're here. And we do intend to come back in the fall to reevaluate the overall schedule where this project fits. So with that, we'll turn it over to we'll dive into the slides and start to go through this a little bit so everyone can see the overall presentation. So again, you see Snowden Farm Elementary School. That's the first slide you see. This is a prototype. Snowden Farm was the last of the prototypes, and we certainly worked very closely with that staff to build off of the successes of the school and to start looking for, even new ways to meet 21st century learning. I know it's sort of difficult to see it where we are today in our COVID-19 stage, but this will be an extremely important project for us as we move forward. So we move to the next slide and just give you a little overview. For those that are not necessarily familiar, this is pretty close to the outlets. So the outlets are to the sort of the north, the right side of what you're seeing from the site plan. And as you come down Clarksburg Road, the main entrance will really look very similar to the Snowden Farm School. Both loops in the front, giving that frontage access. The really neat thing about this site, though, is that there is also a park that's we're going to call it south of the site. So we're going to have this feel of fitting nicely within the community. Which was master planned from the developer, but having also a bit of a park setting as well. So we'll go to the next slide. So again, for those that have been in the prototype schools, the main entrance, you walk in, your administration is to the left. And then you have, what we would call our classroom donut to the right. We would, as with most of all of our elementary schools, look to have everything from pre-K to kindergarten to first and probably some second grade on the first floor. We have our media center, multi-purpose room. And then we readjusted the gym just slightly on this plan just to give a little bit better access from the side doors and to give a little bit better wayfinding. But again, you sort of see how the academics is on the right, the public spaces are on the left. Next slide. And then again, on the second floor, it's, that's pretty typical to our prototypes, third through fifth, that makes that classroom wing a second floor over on the right. So we'll go to the next slide. And again, just looking at a little elevations, this west elevation is the main entrance. The south is the elevation that faces the park. Next slide. And then you see at the top, the elevation from the fields, and then the north is really sort of that view from Clarksburg Road as you're coming down. So you have your gym to the left. We were able to find some more daylighting with that. Your multipurpose room sort of right there in the center. Next slide, please. Again, just a bird's eye view. This is actually going towards the outlets. This would be the front of the building as you're going in that direction. Next slide, please. Again, from a front entrance, the beauty with this school as well as Snowden is that there are established homes so that we can really blend the school into the neighborhood, unlike some of the past where we were the first to sort of break ground in some of the design. We have a palette to work from. So trying to build off of what's in the neighborhood. Next slide, please. Again, this is that the view from sort of the park side of the site. Next slide. This is the corner view, seeing from the field aspect of the site. You see your tall sections of the building there having a few different architectural elements in there. Next slide, please. Here's your gym. Again, trying to find more daylight. We have a real opportunity. This is the view. This is one of the views that you would see as you're actually coming from the outlets down Clarksburg Road. You typically, when you have a gym, you really want to. It's hard to make it fit architecturally, but the architects have done a fantastic job with this one to fit this in here. Next slide, please. All right, now turn it over to Ms. Shiabowski to walk us through the flyover.
So this is the main entrance view, and you have a bus loop on the left and the student drop-off on the right. And when we are turning the corner, that's the classroom wing. And some kindergarten classrooms with fun colors we are adding. And then when we are turning the corner, you see the pre-K and the special ed play area and the fields on the right side. And this is the gymnasium. And then play area right next to it. And there's a loading dock areas right next to it, but we have a featured wall because this side is visible from the Clarksburg Road. So we are adding some feature to it. And then you see the bus loop on the right side. And this is the main entrance to the school. And thank you. And we are now welcome any questions at this time.
Sure. I'll ask my colleagues to kind of wave their hands if they have a question or a comment they wanted to make. Okay. Silvestre, we'll start with you.
It looks beautiful, lovely. Thank you for that. Wanted to ask a question about the delay. So I know we're going to revisit in the fall to see where things stand, but the design continues for how long? And then if we are not able to do anything about the delay, what happens in that time period?
And that is a great question. Certainly in these times, we look back to that time frame of around 2007 to 2008 to continue with design, because that is one of the goals, is to keep design funds intact. To have shovel-ready projects, that is absolutely a must in this climate. So for us, it would be move forward as aggressively can with the design. Attempt to get a permit and be prepared for groundbreaking. Again, we don't know what construction costs will look like. They could decline rather rapidly, and we would want to absolutely be prepared with as many projects as possible to accelerate timelines if need be.
Thank you.
Okay. So seeing no other hands, thank you for the presentation. If I can get a motion.
I make a motion to accept the preliminary report for Clarksburg Elementary School number 9.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Ms. Wolf?
Aye.
Aye.
Sen?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Mrs. ONeal?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Ms. Mondrosky?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
And that's a yes for me as well. So that is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So next we will move to item 12, consent items. If I can get a motion to move all the consent items in block.
I move that we accept the consent items in block.
Is there a second?
I will second that. But I had a kind of an overall generally type of question. And of course, now I'm trying to find where my piece of paper is. But, well, two things. Number one was just, we had between the procurement contracts of $25,000 and more and some of the others, there are multiple contracts in reference to student data systems and professional development. And I was just wondering if at some point we could get a summary of those and a little bit of what they do, each of the different contracts to us. I'm not sure I'm saying it right because I can't find the piece of paper where I wrote down what I wanted to say.
Sure. If you and all the other board members can send us any identify which ones you want to know about. Then we'll send a summary in the next week or two in the transmittal that just describes what it's used for, okay?
That would be perfect. Yep.
Yeah, just send us an email and if you'll just give them all to Lori Christina, she can give them all to us and we'll send just a annotation for each one of them. So.
Okay, I also just wanted to say thank you to Ms. McGuire for the time that she spent going through things with me and helping me understand a lot of the stuff better. So thank you very much for your staff's work on all these things.
Excellent, thank you.
And I wanted to go back for a moment, I'm sorry. So item 12, the consent items is revised. We pulled out 12.7. So I just wanted to make note of that. So
I wondered about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So we pulled that out. And so just, could I get a motion on the revised consent agenda?
I'll move as revised.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded. All in favor? Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
ONeal?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestri?
Yes.
Oski?
Yes.
Invite?
Yes.
That is a yes for me as well. That's unanimous. Thank you. Our next item is item 13. If I can get a motion to move item 13.1 and 13.2 in block.
I move them in block.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
But I also have something that I forgot to ask about. So after we do that vote, can I just go back for 1 second?
You can. Okay. So it's moved and seconded. It was seconded by Mrs. Spandrowski, correct?
Correct.
Okay. We just want to say our names for Miss Van Dyke just to help her out.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So all in favor, Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Daka?
Yes.
Ms. ONeal?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestri?
Yes.
Oski?
Yes.
Tinbite?
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. And so before we get to item 13.3, Mrs. Spandrowski, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you. I meant to bring it up during the consent items part, but it was just a quick question about, I know, that MCPS has been working very hard on trying to implement this system in order to be able to provide the option for 12-month paychecks. I didn't know if we could I know it's not a consent issue, but I didn't know where else to put it into the meeting to just ask about where we are with that and if that's something we think we're going to be able to accomplish soon. Because I know it had been up for discussion for a while.
So I will give a brief response, Ms. Evans, if that's okay. And
sure, that's fine.
We can send you more information in writing. That is part of the multi-million-dollar upgrade that we've been going through for the last 4 years of our business systems, our budget system, our finance system, our student information system that will roll out. It was started this year and it will be fully implemented starting July 1st. And then the last component piece is the HR system. And that's where all of our timesheets and all of our finance comes together with HR. And that's when we'll be able to go into a full mechanized system around 10-month employees receiving their pay, their 10-month salary divided over 12 months. And that's typical of how it's done in most school systems. Montgomery County just had the unfortunate circumstance that as they were getting ready to do these big enterprise systems with HR and budget and finance, the Great Recession hit. And so it's backed them up. And now we're down to the last few miles of this effort, another year and a half or so, and this hit. So unless we can find another mechanism to do this, we're really looking at 18 months to 2 years until we can do that. I have asked Mr. Morella to look and see if there's some stopgap measure that we could use to accelerate this. And so we'll send that analysis, and it will really be, one, is it possible? And he has not answered that question yet for me, and he's been working on it. And two, what's the cost benefit analysis? Because if it costs, X number of dollars, then we might want to do it because it's worth it for 2 years. If it comes Y number of dollars, then it's not a good use of our resources if it's that much more to get it 18 months earlier. So we'll have that to you in the coming weeks, and we can revisit it then when we have a better sense of that.
I appreciate that very much. I know, like, with these hard times for a lot of people, I think it might be helpful for them. So I just wanted to make sure. And when some of those things that you discussed were in the contract thing, I was like, oh, this could fit in here. So thank you for the update.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So item 13.3, are there any new business items that board members want to bring up at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we will move to 14. Item 14 is just informational summary, just for informational purposes. And item 15, adjournment, if I can get a motion.
I move adjournment.
Said that fast. Is there a second?
Yeah. Pat ONeal seconds.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor. Ms. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Not all at once. Dr. Daka?
I said yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Mrs. ONeal?
Yes.
Ms. Silvestre?
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't know if you said my name yet or not, but yes.
I did. I did. Mr. Tinbite?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and that is a yes for me. That's unanimous, and we are now adjourned. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.